Hello and welcome to the LiveScore Watch-Along. We are here to walk you through what is going to be another massive night of European football. Two huge games in Manchester. City hosts Atletico Madrid as Pep plays Cholo once more, whilst over in Lisbon, Liverpool will look to see off a Benfica side coming off the back of a massive win over Ajax. And in the studio, I'm delighted to say that I'm joined once again by our resident citizen, Mr. 𝗟𝗏 𝗪𝗁. Welcome back, mate.
Hello, Jack. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good, Jack. Cheers.
Excellent. And making his debut, keeping us across all things Liverpool, Mr. 𝗟𝗏 𝗪𝗏. Mate, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad we've got two beards on this part of the sofa.
Yeah, the baby face is over here, beards over there, we're all over the place, and there's more yet to come. But I mean, let's start.
Beards to come.
No more beards to come. But let's talk about tonight, right? And how excited are you? Because these are two big games, but they're also two games that both of your teams are favourites for. So let's start with you, Stephen.
This is sort of what it's all about. That's the headspace I put myself into for this game because the alternative could be Man United right now, for example, with nothing to look forward to, and I had to get that dig in there. Of course I did. But seriously though, like a small part of me when the draw was made and the way these fixtures unfolded, I was a little bit nervous. You know, Atletico Liverpool. It's horrific on paper, but then since then, I've kind of got really excited for it. You know, it's an incredible schedule. It means everything. It's interesting. It's tense. It's the kind of games that get you out of bed in the morning. You know, it's really exciting, basically. So
the sharp end,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. It's the point that stuff that actually matters. I mean, in the Champions League for teams like City and Liverpool, for example, the group stages are largely processions. You know, and obviously there's the odd potential banana skin here and there, but you're kind of waiting to get to this moment, and now we're here, and this is the bit where it gets really interesting. So as a football fan, as a City fan, yeah, I'm absolutely well up for this game because this is where the fun starts, the real fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And 𝗟𝗏, look, this is probably the nicest draw on paper that Liverpool could have been handed. Yeah. What's the confidence stakes like?
I think, to be fair, we're just calm. Like it's been like in the last sort of 10 games, 15 games, we've just been calm throughout the whole period. And then obviously you draw Benfica, and it is the dream draw. And no disrespect to Benfica, they could turn up tonight and do a madness. But,
yeah, of course. There's always that possibility at this end of a competition, right? But on paper, it's as nice as it gets.
Yeah, on paper. Buy this for you guys, you know. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I look at it as a City fan, like this should be easy.
It's the one you want.
Yeah. Honestly, when the draw came out, I imagine every Liverpool player, fan just went, "I will absolutely take that," because. Yeah. As you just said, there's so many worse teams you can take on, and you'd hope that it's pretty straightforward. You get the job done in the first leg, second leg you can rotate, play a few of the kids, and put it in the bag.
We'll see how we go. Let's get done first tonight, and then we'll talk about that. Right, we've got a little bit different something on this show tonight as well. We have another person in the studio, Mr. Sam Tighe, demoted from this bench over to Stats Corner. He's going to be keeping us abreast of all the trends and things going on across both games.
Yeah, you say demoted, I feel like I've outgrown the sofa and I require my entire own setup now. But I will be here keeping a beady eye on both games. I'll try to provide tactical and statistical analysis. I've got my trusty notepad. I've got my multicoloured pen, so don't worry, we're in good hands. If you think I've missed something or our team don't see anything, don't hesitate to get in touch and let us know how you feel about how both games are going.
Excellent. Indeed, you can get in touch using the hashtag LiveScoreWatchalong. But let's get into the games, and let's start with Benfica. Our man James Lorenzo has been out exploring again, and he thought we'd look at a player that Premier League fans might know, but in a slightly different capacity.
Liverpool fans can be forgiven for not knowing Benfica's squad inside and out ahead of their game at the Estadio da Luz, but there's one player who they should need no reminder of, because the streets, particularly these streets, won't forget Adel Taarabt. He once lit up this ground as a maverick attacking midfielder and produced one of the finest individual seasons the English second tier has ever seen as QPR won promotion in 2011. Back then, it wouldn't have been a surprise to see Taarabt in the Champions League by now. But it wasn't always that simple. He flourished under Neil Warnock here, but never quite reached the same heights with Mark Hughes or Harry Redknapp, who called him 3 stone overweight before his contract was cancelled in the summer of 2015. So it's a different Taarabt that has rocked up at Benfica in the quarter-finals of the Champions League. He's no longer a mercurial number 10. There aren't as many nutmegs or mazy runs or solo goals as this place saw. But after some time in the wilderness, he's dragged himself back and is holding his own on Europe's biggest stage.
𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲𝗪 then standing out, but in a slightly different light to that what we're used to at Benfica, and he's going to be playing tonight in a midfield lineup that looks, boys, like it's going to have to deal with a very attacking midfield from Liverpool. 𝗟𝗏, is that more attacking you were expecting?
Yeah, I mean, from my memory, I think Thiago and Keita have only actually played together twice, maybe 3 times, especially with Fabinho sitting. So I can only think Klopp wants to get the job done, but also we were just saying then, I do wonder how much 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗪 can actually run. He's also playing alongside Julian Weigl, who, I mean, he's been around for a while, so it's a bit old school. And then you've got Otamendi and Vertonghen behind them, so they're going to lack pace, and I imagine it's going to be aggressive in that part of the pitch, but I think Liverpool will transition the ball pretty effectively. And to be fair, I'm surprised Naby's playing because he's just been injured, and he's actually had a really, really good spell. Although he's used to actually playing as a left-sided 8, so I'm surprised he's playing on the right, but I can only imagine Liverpool have serious plans of getting this done as fast as possible.
Yeah, absolutely, and get that breather in between those 2 City games. Well, the other thing there is, I suppose, the front 3, the 2 players who stood out maybe most at the weekend, Bobby Firmino, Diogo Jota, both missing. Diaz comes back in, Mane comes back in. It's, you know, an interesting little rotation.
I'd imagine that's with one eye on City. Jota will probably play some part. He tends to come off the bench at some point, and he'd probably come off the bench and create a few chances and keeps his form going. That's kind of, he's just become an out-and-out number 9. He's almost like one of these guys that you throw on there and you go, he's probably going to get you a chance. And then Bobby's still sort of, I still can't quite work out what Bobby's up to at the moment. But I'll be very surprised if Klopp doesn't start with Mane, Salah, and Bobby against City. So I think that might be why Bobby and Jota are on the bench this game. In particular, Bobby.
Yeah, well, stick with what you know. Stick with tried and trusted for the big ones, isn't it? Right, let's get some predictions in for this game. And 𝗟𝗏, you kick us off.
I personally think it'll be 2-1. However, it could easily be like 4-1. But I think the game, I think we'll watch a 2-1 game. That's my prediction.
Okay, yeah,
Do you know
I know
I
what you mean. I know what you mean. That little break on there. Stephen?
Do you know what? I cannot remember what I emailed you a week ago. I genuinely forgot. I think I went for 2-0, I think. But I honestly forgot. Did I go for 2-0?
I did go for 2-0. There it is. There's a big shot.
Simply because I can't see Liverpool running away with this massively, but I do think they'll be comfortable.
Yeah.
I think they'll be relatively, probably a couple of early goals as well, actually, then probably a dull second half.
Yeah, I think 2-0 as well, and I completely agree. I do think that's the kicker. It's get it in, get the goals done, and then sit on it and conserve before the weekend. And to be honest, we'll see how we go, but it might be very similar in the other game. And let's go to City and let's go to the team news.
I remember this one.
I mean, Stephen, if we look at this, let's start this lineup. I think maybe the one that jumps out is the false 9. Is that De Bruyne at false 9? Is it Gundogan? Is it Bernardo? It could kind of be any of them.
Pep, mate, it could be Rodri. Pep was saying he's going to go do something crazy as well, so who knows. But I would suspect, to me, I think that's probably instinctively right what we've got on screen, simply because that's what we did last season in the Champions League, and there's something to be said for familiarity, I guess. And I would guess as well we want Bernardo in midfield. Energy and legs in that midfield would be really useful. Gundogan is much better at helping us with the transition up the pitch than De Bruyne, or even Bernardo, actually. So those two are the ones I'd want in the false 8 positions for the guile, the intelligence, the essentially the patience of Gundogan, but then the energy of Bernardo, who will definitely drop a little bit deeper alongside Rodri. But having said that, De Bruyne, he's not going to be positioned entirely as a false 9, and it wouldn't be surprised if he's switching with those two anyway. We've seen that plenty of times.
It's just going to be that rotation.
Yeah, it's going to be all 3 of them with a relative license to go everywhere. Every now and then we'll see Sterling drift through the middle, and Mahrez will be fluid as well. And it's an interesting team with the front 6, but I sort of like it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, a word on 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗪, because this is a team that has been denied Jimenez, who obviously got injured at the weekend. It's a 5 at the back. I think it will be that outside of possession. When they do have the ball, you imagine Renan Lodi, like he did in the last round, is going to try and get forward into that kind of left midfield space, push Marcus Llorente a little bit wide and go a little bit 4-4-2.
What I think will be interesting is we saw United play with a focal point and struggle because that's what Atleti want to play against. When you play against a false 9 and you play with a back 3 in possession, out of possession, you've got no one to mark.
Yeah.
And I think they'll really struggle with that because the 3 centre-backs are really sort of like man-to-man centre-backs.
Pep probably knows, of course Pep knows as
Yeah,
well. It's probably why De Bruyne will be there, but De Bruyne is good for like a special goal in these kind of games, like a long range of 20 yard.
Yeah, I'd agree. Oh, and on that note, what are your predictions?
I went for 1-0 Man City.
1-0 Man City. That's quite calm.
It is, but I think it's going to be a really tight game because it's Atleti, and as much as they haven't been at the very best, they're in decent form right now. You know, and I'm a little bit apprehensive simply because João Felix has found form, and he's such a mercurial talent like that. It's almost not an audition as such, but City were intensely linked to him, and there's no manager in the world who probably values a false nine more than Guardiola. So João Felix, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays well. Having said that, I still trust us to keep a clean sheet, hopefully.
Okay, debate.
I'll go 2-0. I think City will control the game. The only thing I don't want to see is an early City goal, with no disrespect. I want to see a good game of football where Atleti can have a go. Atleti cannot chase a game, and City love having a stranglehold on a game. So I'll go 2-0. But I'd love a João Felix early goal.
It would liven it up. It would liven things up. I've got 2-0 as well. I think that's it's a safe prediction in some ways. But we said this before the last round, and City had outdone all of our predictions by half time. So I wonder if that'll happen again. Right then, before we get into these two games, let's take a look at the history between the two managers. Omar Howard is here to take a look at Pep versus Cholo.
It's Pep Guardiola's free-flowing football against the opposite, Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. The Premier League side are famed for their suffocating possession and total domination with and without the ball, while Atletico are known for their unflinching defensive solidity and the dark arts. That's all intentional though. Simeone once said we aspire to be an annoying team, and they nailed that brief every single time. In the last round against Manchester United, Atletico wasted 26.5 minutes, with keeper Jan Black contributing more than 2.5 of those before restarting play. Atletico had just 39% of the ball and were fouled 14 times. Simeone's side know how to dictate the tempo of the match without the ball, so in their minds, if they don't concede, then they don't lose. As a result, they are risk averse. This term, they have averaged just 41% of the ball in the Champions League. Only 6 sides have managed less. Atleti also ranked 22nd for shots attempted, 20th for goals, 17th for expected goals, and 31st for passes attempted per 90. Only Sheriff Tiraspol attempted fewer passes. On the other hand, only Bayern Munich have averaged more goals than City, while Citizens are one of just 6 teams to average more than 60% possession. Per 90 minutes, they rank 3rd for passes into the opposition half, while only Bayern hit the target more often. But they have to be wary of Atletico's back three. A large part of City's game is about targeting the space between the centre-back and full-back, and Atleti's resilient back line will delight in making life hard for them. Guardiola's style is reflective of the man he played under Johan Cruyff, but Pep once said, what Cruyff did at Barcelona, El Cholo has done at Atleti. In this battle of styles, there can only really be one winner.
Interesting stuff there, so thank you to Omar. Lads, it's about to kick off in both games. Final thoughts just before we get into this? The nerves kicking in at all, or is it just where we are now?
Yeah, a little bit, I'm not going to lie. I'm literally fiddling my ring nervously, so that's all. But once again, going back to what we said at the top of the show, it's sort of what it's all about. And I have to trust, as a City fan, once again, the players that got us to the final last season. I'm interested to see City with Atletico as well, because it's not something that's happened before, so it's nice to see something fresh. I know it's going to be difficult. What are you going to say there?
I was going to say, according to that, it looks like Sterling's playing false nine.
We'll see. I don't think so. I can't see Bernardo as a left winger. I mean,
yeah,
we'll see where it goes. But
also, I mean, so many of these pieces are so versatile.
Yeah,
you kind of just can do these things and drag people about. And you know, it's like when people write in João Cancelo's playing left back, and of course he is on paper. But is he actually playing left back? Probably not. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm intrigued by this Benfica sort of 4-4-2. This where Gonzalo Ramos will drop in and kind of join Tarat and Weigl, and they're going to need it because they're going to need his legs. But it does mean that Darwin can be left a little bit exposed, and against this back two that Liverpool have put together.
Well, Liverpool just play really high, so I don't know whether that'll suit Darwin or not. I just don't see how Benfica are going to get on the ball. You're playing 2 central midfielders against Liverpool's 3, but also then you have Liverpool's 9, who also drops in as a 10. And then you've got Vertonghen and Otamendi at centre-back, and we haven't actually spoken about that side, but I think Salah's going to have a lot of fun going at Grimaldo and then at Vertonghen. He had a cracking record against Spurs when Vertonghen was there, to be fair, so I'm not... you just kind of hope in the atmosphere.
You can't. I don't think the thing is like there's a way of doing this. It's not going to be a walkover. It's not going to be no game in this stage of the Champions League is easy. Yeah. It's probably as nice a draw as it can be, and you can say that without being disrespectful, I think. But you're right. Like Alex Grimaldo is famously good at going forward. He's an excellent attacking left back. He's not a brilliant defensive left back. And that said, they had a very heroic, kind of gargantuan backs to the wall performance against Ajax. And there was a lot of, especially Otamendi and Vertonghen, it was very much Trojans on the end of their own box. But ultimately, can you do that against this Liverpool side? I don't know.
I think so. With Champions League football, you never know. The atmosphere there looks electric. And that always plays a factor.
The Inferno Deluge, they call it. The Inferno of Light.
Somehow I knew you'd know something like that.
We got a tattoo that says that somewhere.
Yeah. I might if I was a Benfica fan.
Run away anyway, the Etihad, and it looks like currently...
What's that, Bernardo, no?
Yeah, he's there. Give it 4 seconds and he'll be back.
Yeah, it's gonna move, but it's Bernardo who started there.
See, as we've got Sam in the corner, Sam, can you keep telling us who plays in the false line?
We'll keep an eye on
false line watch.
We'll throw it to Sam for stats. Stats corner. We'll do a heat. Now,
yeah.
We'll have a heat map in a little while. We'll get there. But yes, underway. The Etihad far earlier.
Yeah, of course. They're slacking over there.
Big change. Normally, you're pretty much on the money both sides.
Yeah, Ake, it's a big game for the Ake this as well. To be fair. Obviously, we know Diaz essentially getting the nod, I would say, over Zinchenko in a way. Even though obviously they're playing different roles, one of those two was going to come in given the injuries in defence, golden suspensions of Walker as well, of course. And
also, interesting to see him at left back. It looks like John Stones a right centre back and Cancelo at right back.
You're right. That is interesting.
Oh yeah, that was what you was talking about before.
So because Stones has played right back quite a lot recently, Pep was almost like testing him essentially, given the fact Walker's suspended, and he's gone for Ake left back, which is interesting.
Again, it's what, they can just shift it around. This isn't working. Stick Cancelo at left back, move Stones over to the right, off you go. But I suppose two left-footed centre backs not. Great vibes. We're underway in Lisbon.
Pep hates that as well. Pep hates having two centre backs that are the same foot. He had that with Stones and Diaz for a while, didn't he? He had like a back and forth.
That was our best centre-back partnership as well, that's the thing.
Mate,
that got us to the final.
I think Laporte's unreal.
Oh, he's good, but I definitely prefer Stones and Diaz together.
Really?
I'm not complaining about any of them, but...
I think when you have three centre-backs of that quality, you can get a rotation going. It's obviously a bit different. But
it's going to be interesting because obviously Ake, he's a good defender, but he's not a good distributor, so we lose a little bit. As I say that he plays with a really nice posture ball.
I was waiting for just...
There's a glorious pig.
He did it on the weekend as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he played well against Burnley, to be fair. He was playing more. He was playing the centre, but he played well.
We had about 4 weeks on the ball every time he had it, though, to be fair.
Well, this is it. It'll be interesting. Look, Atleti of late, I think, it's been interesting because they've won 6 in the trot in La Liga.
It's a nice ball. Great ball.
They're defending 6 metres on average deeper than they were at the earlier part of the season. They've reverted to type. They finally hit that point where they were like,
it's working
this wasn't working, we're going back to Cholismo, we're going right back to how we believe, and here. So that kind of ball over the top might not be on for long periods, which is going to be interesting, just to see how they kind of deal with that across the course of this game. Here's their record in the Champions League. It doesn't make for incredibly thrilling viewing, is how I would probably put it, across the course of the 8 games they've played so far. But they can hurt. Look, 9 games in 8 games, but 9 goals conceded in 8 games. They can hurt teams, and they very rarely are out of games.
Yeah, that's the big... They enjoy suffering, and that's so rare. They just
say the masochists.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Is that Marcus Llorente?
He's got a decent turn of pace. Okay. He's done really well there.
Yeah,
it's a good ball over the top. It's good defending. He's won the free kick as well.
Very well.
Llorente will drop into that right-hand channel. Obviously, he's played so many different
good
positions.
Good pace from Llorente as well.
He's a pure athlete. That's what he brings to the table.
Really well to keep up him.
He needs to wear some proper shin pads, though.
Yeah.
Them shin pads are far too small to be playing in England, mate.
It's the Jack Grealish approach. To be fair, he probably thought he'd be up against him. Yeah. They were like, we'll have a non-shin pad wing in this game. That's how they
the non-shin pad derby.
Yeah, there we go. Liverpool, it does look like that was right though. It does look like Mane through the middle.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting. Luis Diaz has clearly you know, he obviously knows his opponent very well for all these years at Porto. There has been a funny story coming out this week about him trying to give some tactical instructions to the Liverpool camp.
Yeah, Klopp's asked him, can you tell us more about Benfica? And clearly, Diaz does not speak a word of English. Klopp does not speak a word of the language Diaz speaks, which I believe is Spanish.
It is Spanish.
Oh, nah, get out of here. And he's basically given him a load of instructions, and Klopp at the end has gone, I have no idea what you just said.
Why did he ask him in the first place?
I don't know.
I don't understand him, but tell me everything you know about
Well, I
Benfica.
imagine he would have just looked to Thiago to be like, right, can you just translate this? And Thiago's gone, no idea what
I don't
he said.
know what he's
He's just
saying,
spoken too fast. Yeah, he's absolutely well out of this for me. So, yeah, lots going on. Well, I mean, also Pep's had a funny week.
Pep was on one from his press
really,
conference.
really was on one.
He really was. He said that he overthinks, he loves to do crazy tactics, and he's going to play with 12 men. I love Sassy Pep. Sassy Pep's my favourite Pep. I always see that as a good thing, though, usually. He's only like that when he's feeling bullish and when he's happy, essentially. And he gets super playful in these press conferences. And it obviously does show, if we're being totally honest as well, that the Champions League stuff, he is aware of the reputation he's got, and he is aware of the criticism. And it's interesting to see a manager overtly point out to essentially a lot of football Twitter nonsense about it. That's what he's referring to, this reputation that essentially follows him around social media. And but still, I like it when he's in those moods, because it means he's relaxed about something. Maybe he's seen the players play well in training or something like that. But yeah, he was in a funny mood.
Yeah,
Very
well,
Pep.
I mean, look, it's nice to see it. This is City's Champions League record. You can see why he's feeling bullish.
Wow.
It's pretty good. It's pretty
not
good.
bad,
That
is it?
XG is a joke.
Yeah.
It's madness.
It's just
No,
one of those.
we conceded more than we should have by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder if part of that is just because City are like, you know, slightly relaxed in games like the Leipzig game, right? Where how much of that is due to the one game against Leipzig, or the other, either the game against Leipzig, either the loss, or the fact that you were so comfortable in the first second, and Kunku had a wonderful game.
Yeah,
let's not take away from it, but
It's
there was
carried on
also
as
a
well.
level of is there a difference between scoring at 1-1 and 4-1 down?
Yeah, of
Like,
course, definitely.
And so therefore, is there an element of that? Darwin is
He's
having a
tearing it
bit
up.
of a moment, isn't it? He's
Oh, that's a good cross. Unlucky.
He's having a bit of an audition as well, I suppose, because there's plenty of people, not necessarily Liverpool, but there are plenty of people with eyes on Darwin Núñez.
Yeah, he's a baller, man. One of those players that like really gets you off your seat. Just there, he just sort of pokes it over Robertson. That's not an easy task, and then puts in a really good ball in. To be fair, I really like him. I think he will end up in the Premier League next season. I believe he was linked to West Ham in the summer, like really intensely.
It's really interesting. Here's his stats from the Champions League this year, and look, he's overperforming. But equally, there's a level about Darwin, I think, which is necessarily not borne out in this, is that he's absolutely terrifying because he's such an athletic, speedy, strong player that he kind of. Defenders take a look at him and go, you know what, I don't fancy that. And I think, like you say, if he's linked to West Ham, he's a 9 for West Ham, but he might be a wide forward for Arsenal or Liverpool, right? And they're the kind of roles that someone like this would play, but you definitely feel like he is that over-the-top 9 for West Ham that they probably are crying out for in terms of depth. So I think,
Well,
it
the money
depends.
would be a lot, wouldn't it?
It depends where they finish, and it depends how they get on in the
Yeah.
Europa League, I imagine.
But also depends who else is interested, because there's obviously a lot of paper talk about Liverpool looking at him, City are looking at him, So if all these clubs are looking at him, I don't think West Ham have a chance, with no disrespect to West Ham, but if City come in for Darwin Núñez, he probably goes to City.
I'm not sure he suits Pep that much.
No.
I'll be honest. And
Darwin
I
doesn't really
actually,
either, to be fair,
I think
after
he'd
him,
suit
so.
Klopp, but I don't think you need him at Liverpool, to be honest. There's
Yeah, no.
slightly too many. There's too many pieces in the puzzle as it is at
Yeah.
Liverpool in terms of his attacking options. So
Arsenal would be a great move for him. I think he would actually suit Arteta football.
yeah,
I was going to call it Arteta ball, but I'm not on that.
You're 12.
that's not fun.
I'm not 12, yeah.
Come on! A speculative Cancelo effort from long range that nearly...
There's nothing better than Cancelo just striking them from distances there. They very rarely go in, but they always cause some sort of carnage.
Yeah, I think against teams Atletico anyway, that the speculative long range efforts are a decent tactic. I know it sounds a bit simple, but it just...
Well, they're going to sit off you.
Yeah, they'll set off you, so do it, and then eventually they'll come out, try and stop it, and create a little bit of space. You have to win every yard against Atletico, don't you?
You have to earn it.
You have to
and
earn it,
you have to earn it by occasionally striking it early.
Exactly, yeah. And we've got players who can strike a ball, Cancelo, De Bruyne, Mahrez, people like that.
Yeah.
Rodri can as well, so
Diaz
go
is
for it.
away, yeah.
Here you go, Liverpool.
Oh, yeah,
Liverpool.
Oh,
Was
what
that
a
even meant to be
terrible
to
first touch.
Salah?
I don't
Nah,
think
he
so.
absolutely pinged it. Mane got a little touch on it. What were you saying about the Liverpool kit? Personally, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
I
don't like the back of it.
didn't like it to begin with, but it has really grown on me. So there's that element, isn't it? Like at first I was like, this does look a bit like everyone works at Five Guys, and then but it has grown on me. Right, let's stop talking about McDonald's outfits and let's go to Stats Corner. Shall we hear some genuine analysis? Sam, what you got for us?
I was really enjoying your analysis. I don't think mine's going to live up to it. But look, we're about 8 minutes in now, 9 minutes into the City game, and Atleti have 30% possession, which is absolutely no surprise whatsoever. The back five is extremely flat. The midfield three sit quite narrow, and the front two are narrow again. So Atleti haven't been able to put any pressure on City in the build-up phase whatsoever. And in the first 5 minutes or so, the fullbacks had all the touches, all the space in the world. And then just shortly after, Cancelo realises that and lets off a shot. So I think this is going to be a pretty common trend through this game. Atleti will not be able to push City in those wider areas. These fullbacks are going to get a lot of the ball. In this situation, I wonder if Cancelo is better off on the left-hand side because of what he can do. But we'll see. But Atleti are going to struggle in that area, and they will not be able to limit Cancelo or Ake in terms of touches.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Sam. That is actual analysis.
Yeah. Oh, what a ball!
And well, Liverpool have started to crank the pressure up a little bit over here. There's a couple of minutes there where it's pushed onwards.
That was a delightful back heel from Sadio Mane. I think it's through Otamendi's legs. No, it's actually Tonga.
I love the flick into the floor that bounces up back here. There's something very special.
Ozil created that when he started passing it into the floor. But pretty mad that he actually made an entire 12-minute video on YouTube about it. I don't think it was that deep. But
now look at him.
Yeah.
Now look at him.
I love Ozil personally. Won't hear no Ozil.
No, I agree. It's just a shame that his career has descended into what it has.
Yeah, it's strange. I really did think it was going to kick off again, but sadly, just not one that's worked. So maybe it'll change. We've seen careers come back from the brink, especially in Turkey before. So
although he must be 33, 34. So I'm not sure how long he's got left in the tank.
Cancelo is getting a lot of the ball here. You're right. He's the outlet. Another decent whip cross that I couldn't quite get the end of.
It's all about second balls.
To be honest, City are starting to up the pressure a little bit. There's been a few little moments as opposed to chances, but there's definitely a little more of an energy to urgency, I guess, to Atletico's defending.
It's all about second balls, which is why I think a lot of fans might see Bernardo crossing it there and say, and City do this a lot actually, and people will go, oh, why are they crossing it in there?
They do essentially, don't they?
Yeah, because you win the second balls.
Create chaos, basically. Yeah.
He's miles offside.
Yeah.
There
you go. First corner.
That's a decent effort.
It's a decent effort. I was going to say it was a.
Laporte, he's tried his best there.
To be fair, I did see a stat the other day. Laporte and Cancelo's XG isn't that far apart, and you wouldn't expect that considering how far forward Cancelo gets.
Laporte is a decent goal scorer.
Yeah. That is because Cancelo lets off shots from almost everywhere. So I imagine his XG is actually quite poor. But that's it's the same thing. It's the second balls thing. It's do those things strike someone, and is the City player the first to react to it? And often the answer to those things is yes. And that's why he's creating all these opportunities, even if the XG doesn't stand up.
Mate, chat to me about Savage. Savage, sorry, not Robbie.
Robbie, yeah. What do you want to say?
When he was at City,
he had quite a sad story actually, because he joined, and as he signed, I think his father passed away.
Oh really?
So he still he's done really well there.
That's a foul if I've ever seen one.
I know, it really was. Come on, ref, there's claims there for a penalty. No, but basically, Savage, he came very young. I think people wanted him to be essentially a Vincent Kompany type, really powerful. And he never fully adapted, but it's hard to move to a different country, new city and so on. And obviously, though, there's nothing in that, Sterling. Obviously, though, talented. He's done a really, really good career. That's it's a good challenge.
Coke is a careful boy in them areas.
But he had a few good games, Savage, a couple of good games, but he had a few big mistakes. And when you're that young and you make a few big mistakes, it's very hard to recover. Yeah, I remember him getting whatever the equivalent of meme culture was then. He just started getting memed, and people were absolutely battering him. And he also looked like the lead singer of the Verve, which an awful lot, which Ashcroft.
Which in Manchester is going to attract your attention.
Exactly, yeah. There's no hiding there.
Yeah,
but he's had a great career, and genuinely there's a warmth to him now from the City fan base anyway. In terms of largely appreciate that he was young. It didn't quite work out for him, but he's done well for himself. Also in that period, he's a lucky man. I can't remember
if City weren't at the powers that they are at now, nowhere near, right?
Well, yeah,
I think you were like sort of.
It was more the
Mancini signing, right?
area,
Yeah.
No, City. People forget City under Mancini, despite being champions, we never got the Champions League group stage.
Yeah.
We struggled for a long time in the Champions League, and there's been a lot of talk in general amongst City fans this week about how we've underachieved in the Champions League and Pep's overfall every now and then, which is ultimately true. But the one thing that people don't really consider is that we have something approaching a Champions League pedigree now in terms of people expect us to be in the late stages of competitions. We didn't have that under Pellegrini, we didn't have that under Mancini, and it takes clubs a while to learn the competition. And even though we haven't quite got as far as maybe the money invested should have resulted so far, I do think City have learned to get to this stage comfortably now, which was something that we weren't be able to do initially. So overall, I think the club has taken steps in the Champions League. We haven't quite got there yet, but we're getting closer and closer.
In one game in tournament football, like you can get to a final like you did and lose to a beautiful goal or anything can happen, and it turns into like you can't win a Champions League.
But I think that, like, my controversial opinion is if you can get to the Champions League and demonstrate to be one of the best teams in Europe, you're then capable of winning it.
If you can get to the final,
you're capable of winning it. Of course,
it feels that way, doesn't it? In many ways. Right, it's 15 minutes in City. Let's go to Stats Corner.
Your side.
Yeah, there's a really similar pattern emerging in both of these games here, and it's that the Premier League teams are on top, and they've both got 70% plus possession, and Liverpool actually are up to about 75, 76 at this point, totally dominant. And Jack, just as you suggested before kick-off, they are picking on poor 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. Obviously, when Salah and Trent are playing on the same wing, that's the focus of Liverpool's attack, and 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃 very much more attacking rather than defensive, as you said. That said, I would like to say 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃 did very, very well against Ajax, so he has already stood a very good test. Liverpool have thought, not convinced, mate, we're going to go for you, and Salah's already squeezed through twice. It does kind of feel like a matter of time at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I've just found out a stat that the last time Mohamed Salah failed to score in an away game in the Champions League was in October 2020.
Wow. Whoa. I thought you were going to say October like last year.
Which is still quite impressive.
Well, really again. Sorry.
No, 100%. But it's a good scoring streak. So if they keep in at this 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃 angle, I think they're probably going to find joy here.
But it's what these two teams do best, in my opinion, in Europe, and have done repeatedly. And it is partially due to players like Rodri and Fabinho, but they just suffocate teams. Yeah. Like you look at Atleti here, and then when Liverpool in possession,
everyone behind the ball inside the final.
Atleti are quite comfy there, though.
Yeah,
like, there are some teams who would be very uncomfortable,
but conversely, City are very comfortable here as
well.
Yeah,
exactly, 100%. But that's where it starts to play out as a game plan. Right?
It's whoever's plan works best, basically, isn't it? Yeah, because City can do this all day. Yeah, Captain America, I can go all day, mate. That's the Manc version.
I know.
But it's interesting to see how the away goal affects this tie as well. Because that whole, like the fear now, like a fear of the away goal mattering something here for City. It's not just there at all. That would have been my genuine fear from this game. Atleti getting it, then taking it back to theirs and sitting back and inviting us on.
Yeah. There is that, I suppose, but then conversely, like you say, it probably helps City here as much as anything else.
Yeah, I actually agree. That's what I'm saying. I think it helps us because they would have been really fearful of Atletico goal.
But it also maybe helps Atleti because they're like, we don't have to go searching for this. We can tuck in, and that's not going to bother us. And our fans aren't going to be like, what are you doing? Because they know this is now a viable strategy, as opposed to maybe a year ago it being, if you don't get the away goal here, City are going to score. City are going to score at one of these grounds. And if it's your away and you haven't scored there, you have to go and try and get two. And that's just not going to work for Atleti. So,
Done well.
Go. Mahrez.
You should have played the pass there.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you're Atleti,
close.
Liverpool just scored.
Oh,
I was looking that way.
It's all flipped up.
𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃, I think it's straight from the corner. I saw Liverpool get the corner, and then at the same time I saw Mahrez pick the ball up, and for some reason I chose to watch Mahrez. But I think it must be Trent if it's from... I think it might be Robertson, actually. I think it's from the opposite side. Robertson and then 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. That fantastic delivery. That's another
brilliant delivery, and it's a brilliant header.
It's another vertical how Liverpool beat teams now. It's Liverpool are built on data, and the set pieces. I think about 3 seasons ago we were barely ever scoring from set pieces. We take so many short. That's a massive pet peeve of mine. And now, despite, like, if you think about that corner there, you've probably got Virgil and Ibu who are massive, but then the rest of the bunch aren't particularly big or wonderful in the air. But they've obviously studied corners and also outswinging corners. Not many teams do that. Liverpool do it every single time. So 1-0, we'll absolutely take that after 18 minutes.
Yeah, 100%.
That's game over for Benfica for me.
It's a long way to go yet, man.
It means that Liverpool can. Well, they won't, but Liverpool could sit on it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think they'll look for. I think they'll look for a killer punch before half time and try and slow this down. But
it's not Liverpool to sit back on as 1-0, is it?
Definitely not on a 1-0. No. But it goes back to what we were saying right at the beginning, right? That if Liverpool can get ahead in this tie and get it to a point where they feel comfortable, they can start to put an eye on the weekend. Now, obviously, you have to treat opposition with respect, no matter how far ahead or so you are in a game at just a 2-0. But there is an element that when you're comfortable and you're controlling a game, you can just take the pace off a little bit, take the sting out of it, and that will help them, when it gets to Sunday.
And also, it's not like Liverpool can't defend. So I think Liverpool, if it goes 3-0, will be happy for Benfica to have the ball for 15 minutes. And pinch it wherever they can and play in transition and be happy to suffer a little bit, because clearly Liverpool can defend. I think Alisson's got the most clean sheets in the league. Good delivery. So I think Liverpool their aim, I think, will be to get to a point where you can just sit in and basically just suffocate the life out of the game.
Oh yeah.
I still don't feel like Liverpool are playing full pelt. They're still playing at Gnabry. If he's 2 inches taller, that's in the back of the net.
He's missed times he's jumped there, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's trying to hang.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, don't hang.
It's a great ball.
Liverpool should be 2-0 up.
Yeah.
That's a massive chance.
But we were saying about the attacking eights. Naby's been in the box about 4 times in this game, and he almost never goes in the box when he's playing as the left-sided 8.
Yeah.
The left-sided 8, weirdly enough, is the one that makes the game happen, even though on the opposite side you've got Trent, and you'd think the right-sided 8 is the one that sort of sits in and protects Trent. So with Naby playing there, I was honestly thinking, oh man, Trent's got no protection. All I'm going to see is little clips of Trent getting nutmegged by Taarabt at some point.
Yeah, well, it's Everton Suarez, so it could be interesting. That man does love a nutmeg.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It doesn't look like Liverpool are overexposed here.
Yeah.
I know we all expected Atletico to sit back, and I watched City do this a lot, but they are really deep, aren't they?
They're so deep.
It's almost comical how willing they are to let City have the ball. And to be honest, it makes me feel good, because I do think we are likely to score. It goes on this way. I know City have had a few games this season where we've struggled to, but I don't know.
Even in them games, you should have scored though. Like the Palace game.
I'm starting to feel that we will score. Because they're really submissive at the moment.
Just don't know what their plan is. Like, they'll concede now, then what they're going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that these are still. Yes, it's okay to have long shots, and yes, I think there's a viable tactic. So there's still less opportunity there than letting City come in behind you and get to the byline and cut back. So
this is going to be
they're playing the percentages.
Yeah,
I suppose. Yes, it feels inevitable, but there are also games where you get to 60 minutes, and suddenly things get frustrating. There's lots going on. Liverpool win.
Everton's doing a shift back there.
He's going to have to.
Yeah.
He's going to have to.
That's so fascinating to me that Trent's got such a, I guess maybe a reputation or the way Liverpool play. You've got a 22-year-old right back who is basically playing like a winger, and regardless of how good your left winger is, he has to do things he doesn't want to do to stop Trent going forward because of how dynamic and aggressive he is in possession.
It's going to be a really interesting matchup at the weekend.
Yeah,
actually, because that is going to be, you'd assume Raheem Sterling tracking Trent.
I would guess so, yeah.
And therefore,
he didn't play well against Liverpool though.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, City do play well against Liverpool. I mean, I expect it to be a classic, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
I think it's going to be an incredible game of football.
In all fairness, the last 6 meetings.
Silly boy, Cancelo. I love it. What's he doing?
That's
but the best goal he's on.
He's got too excited.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? Remember our rule: don't try and dribble more than past 3 players.
That's
my rule in football.
I
genuinely, if you get beat past 2, you got to get tackled on the first, so don't bother. It's pure percentages.
Yeah, unless you're Leo Messi.
Yeah, then you are too, but only one person is, so
don't bother. Absolutely. Leo Messi or 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲.
Yes, the only exception.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look,
it
does. What are you doing there?
Silly.
That's so poor. That's so poor from Lodi.
Yeah, I mean, Benfica look incredibly vulnerable, and that does It's a stress because this is how they've played domestically. Now,
there
still,
could be,
no. I mean, look, you can be vulnerable and still be decent going forward on the counter.
Half chance that, decent half chance.
That is a half chance, and I imagine there's going to be a lot of teammates not very happy with Everton. But that is how it is. Right, let's go to Stad's Corner.
Yeah, just to build on something we were speaking about earlier, because we have a flank attack map that we can show you just to illustrate exactly how much of this is going down the right-hand side for Liverpool, down through Trent and down through Salah. Yes, the corner comes from a left-hand side or left-footed delivery from that side, but so much of it is still coming off the right-hand side. And I had a question for you guys on the sofas as well. With the removal of the away goals, does that change how you would typically react to this if you were Benfica? Because I guess with the away goal and yesteryear and previous seasons, you'd feel spurred by this. You think, well, we need to make our home advantage count for something here. We've got to go and attack. But does it change? Does the removal of this rule now mean that Benfica can hang in there and be this negative for a little bit longer, just to make sure they don't go even further behind?
It's an interesting one.
They're about to go further behind. Oh, what a save!
Yeah.
Is it partly, or also, is there an element that if you're Benfica, you're looking at this and saying it's Liverpool, we'd have to go to Anfield. Very, very, very few teams. I mean, I know Inter have done it this season, but aside from that, very few teams go to Anfield and win. So you kind of need to have that home advantage, away goal or not. If this is maybe someone else who doesn't have that same aura around the kind of home ground.
It always felt for me the away goal was suited the teams who are usually underdogs anyway, because it's something to hang on to, and like there isn't that essentially carrot on the stick anymore, is there? Really? Like for Benfica, the away goal would be huge, potentially Anfield, but it doesn't have the same value anymore. So I feel like we also need to see how it just plays out, because we're just kind of guessing at the moment, and it might genuinely change the dynamic. It might not. We might realise that the scores and averages and all that kind of stuff end up being the same. But it's interesting.
PSG Madrid game, the reason the away goal was brought into play is it worked quite well in that game. Was it PSG Madrid?
Well, the first leg, Madrid, partly obviously because 𝗟𝗏 Benzema was injured, and everything the Madrid do is based around 𝗟𝗏 Benzema, which is fair enough because he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he was kind of not playing at full capacity. But it did feel like Madrid had gone for the 0-0.
Yeah.
There you go. And I suppose that's quite sad in some ways. But in the reverse fixture, was nobody going for it? It didn't feel that way to me. So we'll see. Ooh. A little bit scrappy from Liverpool. Yeah,
pushing forward there, aren't they, Benfica?
Yeah, they look like they're going for it. Home advantage or not.
They need to do something. Like you can't plan to lose at home to then win away from home at Anfield.
That's not usually a good idea, is it?
It's a silly plan.
Yeah.
That's galaxy brain stuff.
You got to win here, or at least.
It's the meme of that bloke tapping.
Yeah, if that happened though, I would absolutely come out as a coach and say, "Yeah, man, that was literally the plan." I'd forge documents to make a look like it and everything.
Yeah. These are my team notes.
Yeah.
We lost on purpose to lull them into a false sense of security and hope for the best. It's not the strategy I'd be going for. That's the third ball that Cancelo's put out of play in the last 5 minutes.
This is very Joao Cancelo.
He's a little bit.
He lost his place in the team this stage last season. People forget. Once again, he was fantastic in the early stages, but he's been a little bit sloppy recently. Cancelo, anyway, just wasteful, which is crazy given he can often look like the most technically gifted player on the pitch, and all of a sudden he has these spells where he blows hot and cold. And last season he lost his place in the team to Zinchenko in the Champions League run. He was fantastic against PSG in particular. And Cancelo right now, obviously he's so good you don't drop him, but I kind of wish he fixed up and looked sharp a little bit, because he's been a bit wasteful. He's
an interesting one, isn't he? Because is he trying? He's obviously been given this mantle of you are the inverted playmaker, you do all these things. Is he just trying to do a little bit too much?
I don't know, but it's just over the last month or so he's been sloppy. I mean, you never know what caused it, because obviously intentional, but he has been more wasteful than he should be. Morris has done really well there. That pass was on to De Bruyne in the half space, but
the third big tackle that Atletico made.
Goal. No. Should be goal, it's not goal.
It's a great ball from Robertson.
Yeah, just a bit too overhit. Or too small on the back post.
To be fair, this is such a good test for Darwin Nunez. He's had about 3 or 4 duels against either Konaté or Van Dijk, and he's won 2, he's lost 2. But a lot of the time you see players, when they play for a weaker side or when they're not getting a lot of the ball, they just become frustrated or they just stop competing, basically. But he's given as good as he's got.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. Look, I mean, I think City have been okay, but they've kind of. It feels like they've kind of struggled to get the ball actually into the box, and I mean the maps will show you. There's a lot of the ball and there's a lot of possession, and look again. We talked about these long shots and all the rest of it, but at the moment it just does feel a little bit like
is there a single touch in the area there?
One,
that's the mean.
That was a big diag as well, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sort of expecting it. we kind of expected it. It is a problem, obviously, that you have with a lack of a recognised focal point. Obviously, it's why we're so aggressively linked to Haaland, and Alvarez coming in next season as well. Hopefully, we'll change it a little bit. But I guess we're just playing the numbers game, and hopefully, one of these crosses will connect with someone or fall loose. But half an hour in, it's probably not unexpected, I would say.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, the general momentum is decent. I think Pep will be on.
I don't think there'd be any reason to be unhappy. It's just one of those where you're trying to work it out, and part of that will be the fact that Atleti have 5 men in the box at kind of any given point.
How do you break them down?
So there is always that you're looking for that one killer pass, and there's no wonder the failed one.
Example there where I think it was Mahrez who beat his man, which obviously creates so much space. Just got the pass wrong to De Bruyne, who would have been in an incredibly good credible position inside the area, and those kind of passes have to come off to be Atletico, don't they? You can't.
Yeah, but you only need one.
You only need one. Exactly.
Only need one to open it up.
Yeah, I love that.
But it's
Alisson's looking rather dashing this evening.
Yeah. Well, both keepers catching a lot of the ball is the big takeaway.
I think if you're Benfica there, they've just had a free kick in a really good situation, and Diaz is away.
He is away.
He's chopping back, or he's doing a no-look pass, one or the other.
He's going home.
Oh. Yeah, when you're Benfica, they just had a set piece about 25 yards out, maybe about 35 yards out to the left-hand side of the box, and they've crossed it straight into Alisson. When you're a smaller team, them situations you've got to try and take advantage of.
I think this is it. It's one thing not scoring from it, because you're not going to score from every set piece, but there is a kind of lot going on in terms of you've got to try and work something rather than just swinging a big one for the keeper to catch. Because they're the things that frustrate fans as well as everything else, right? And obviously it's not about what the fans, but there is an element of. You're looking at this going, the Benfica fans are going, right, 1-0 down, what happens here, what happens next? You get a free kick, everyone goes, okay, right, can we make something? It goes straight to the keeper's hands, it's like, are we actually going to create anything? The level of excitement, the level of volume comes down. You need that when you're playing a bigger side.
I think also you see this, the quality, the difference in quality between the two sides in them situations where, let's say it's the other way around, like Liverpool had against Inter, where Inter suffocated Liverpool and Liverpool had 2 moments and they scored with both. In this situation, Benfica are waiting for them 2 moments, but they're not good enough to just wait for 2 moments. They need 6 or 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And that's the difference in quality between these two sides, and probably the same for City and Atleti, although Atleti have a few players who can cause a lot more damage. That's an
depth forwards, that's probably more clinical than City.
I mean, okay, let's pop over to Sam in Stats Corner, shall we? See what's going on down there.
Yeah, I wanted to find something that could illustrate how much Benfica are struggling, not only to get a foothold in the game, but also get any of their important attacking players involved on a consistent basis. And we have a touch map for Rafa Silva, who was essentially a hero for them in the round of 16. He was absolutely amazing against Ajax in the second half of the first leg, and he forced Erik ten Hag, the Ajax manager, into a substitution of Daley Blind because he was torching him over and over again. Had a really defined role on the right-hand side, put on the afterburners, and off you go. Now, he managed to do that against an Ajax side who wanted to dominate in a similar way to Liverpool, and that really hasn't been the case here. 11 touches all over the pitch. His role is totally undefined, and that's exactly how I would describe Benfica's entire approach to attacking with the football in this game so far. 30 minutes in, and there's very little signs of life, and I think Rafa Silva really distills that. Yeah, absolutely. He's said to be unhappy at Benfica as well, Rafa Silva, so perhaps that's playing into it. But look, this is it. Darwin's getting slight bits of joy. It's the kind of takeaway that it feels like. He's working them himself. He's bullying the odd player off the ball. He's trying to force those channels. But he feels so isolated when that happens. He's a menace. He's causing issues because he's just, as you said earlier, he's a bully. He's quick. He's really up for the task. He probably should have got a free kick in that situation about a few minutes ago.
I agree. Yeah.
But when you're playing by yourself and you're barely having a touch in the game,
that's a big chance.
That's a chance. That's what you need.
That's Otamendi, and he's good in the air as
That's
well.
what you need from your set pieces.
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
You need to create things that get people
that
excited.
matters, doesn't it? That matters. A chance like that against Liverpool.
I don't mind him missing it, but that's
That's okay.
Had my heart in my mouth
we
there
can
for a
live with you
second.
not minding.
He's missed a tap in there for someone like Otamendi.
it's come off his shoulder, you know.
That's
Oh,
just missed it completely.
Missed it. Well, that's shocking.
yeah, for a centre back, that's a bread and butter header, that, isn't it?
Well, I mean, again, look, we talk about differences and the difference between quality of both teams. One of those comes in at one end. Nods it home. A far harder header on paper, coming away from goal, heading back across it. And then Otamendi misses that moment. And here go Liverpool at the other end.
This Konaté-Nunez battle is so interesting.
Yeah.
Konaté's defending against him like he's a
he's
Premier League striker, where he's like going man for man, and he doesn't really need to. Like Nunez doesn't obviously like running at players, but he's almost like going. I don't want to start doing Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher here. He's there, but he's getting so touch tight with him that they're almost scrapping every time. Sometimes you kind of go, mate, you've got no one with you for many miles. I don't need to compete with you. Like, if you can beat me, then let's have a go.
Also, like you say, he's there. What a
Oh,
ball!
Trent!
2-0. Oh, that's absolutely glorious.
Trent, that is outrageous. That is absolutely outrageous. This guy, man. Like, in that situation, if you're Benfica, how do you defend that? You just seen Salah there going, Trent. You just can't defend against that. That is absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, that's an incredible ball. It's just genius.
He's onside.
He's on, he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Mane didn't celebrate.
Yeah.
Mane was just like, I think I'm offside.
Yeah.
I think that's good, if I'm honest.
One of those, though, when someone's across you these days, you've got to be so cautious about whether you are on or offside. That's poor from Cancelo on the flip side. It's the best right back in the world on one end and not the best on the other.
It's because you're left back.
That's a beautiful ball, to be fair. Absolutely beautiful ball.
And also, it's one of those things, isn't it, where the thing is you can't stand off Trent. If you push on him, they'll play the triangle round you, and off he'll go into your third. Yeah. You stand off him, and suddenly he's pinging pinpoint balls straight across. It's just glorious.
I think also, like, how many times, like, I know for a fact people are going to go, no one's closing him down, but there is the whole game for the 34 minutes we've seen, he has been closed down.
Yeah.
And the 1 minute the fella's switched off, that's that quality that we're just talking about then. He can do that to you just like that. And then the guys, Everton has been sort of up against him, has gone, oh man, I've left him once and he's just killed me. He's left me 4 times, I've done nothing with it.
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting. But again, Everton's also been working on that kind of, I've got to go with him every single time, because I know that if you let him go, one, if I stand off him, he can do that, sure. But if I know if you let him go, then he's going to fly forward, and that's the key. And so it's all quite tricky.
Sacrifice is so much of a winger's game. Which is why I think when Bernardo played against Liverpool earlier this season, he is sort of like the profile that it terrorises someone like Trent, because he's busy off the ball, but in possession he's a killer as well. So if you're Trent, you're like, I want to go, but he's going to come with me, and then he's also going to be willing to run that way as well.
It's probably one of the only teams in the world that will actually have the wherewithal to make to take advantage of Trent's weaknesses, so to speak, or not weaknesses, the holes in behind him, basically. Because most teams, you kind of get over it, can't you?
Yeah.
City, though, probably
not. It's also probably why, Darwin has drifted over to this side. In that he's gone, right, there's going to be a gap there. Obviously, Konaté's gone with him, so it's fine. But, there is an element where you go, right, he's running that channel. He's running that channel every time, and there's a reason for that. And look, there you go again.
He's offside,
a mile offside.
He set off it was nice football from Atletico to get out at the back, but the counter was built on false hope, basically.
False dreams.
Yes, I mean, he's about 4 yards offside here.
And Marcus Renter's got some lungs, man.
He's
miles off.
He's pointing for it as well.
Yeah,
there's 4 of them offside.
The point was how
as my dad would say, there's 4 of them off.
Yeah.
How many do you want?
That's a proper dad comment, isn't it?
Yeah. That and foul throws, they're the big takeaways from my dad's watching football.
I just have so little patience for foul throws, isn't it? Like, they just don't bother me. Like,
you and my dad would get on really well.
Yeah. No, I mean, it never ever bothered me. Like, his foot was slightly up. Like, we're
at a game and
foul balls are only given at youth level, and that's it, aren't they?
Oh yeah. But I mean, also, if they're not going to be given at senior level, we may as well stop giving them at youth level.
Yeah. That's like using one hand and just doing something crazy. But if the foot's slightly off the floor, who cares?
Yeah, or not quite behind your head.
Yeah,
it's mad though. You do see some players throwing it from like here, and you're like, yeah, that's a foul throw.
Yeah,
and the ref's like,
hey,
it's all good, it's all good.
Here goes Darwin again.
He's a pest, man. Final ball quality's not there though. Poor.
I mean, there's also no one up with him, so it's very difficult for him to pick out the ball. Gonzalo Ramos has been very, very quiet behind him. He has had to drop in a lot, I think, to make this midfield work. But equally, if you're up there and you're playing 2 up top or 4-1-1-1, 4-4-1-1, which Benfica I think are, you kind of need to give him something because otherwise you're getting lost.
Oh, it's just
let's have a little look at his heat map, actually.
I love that song.
It's like we say, that drift out wide and not finding things is just starting to struggle a little bit in where his areas are. But ultimately, he feels like a one-man show.
Yeah, that was good effort.
And that was a very good effort.
It's always difficult though, like when you play against City and Liverpool, and you could probably say Bayern as well, where if you're the focal point and your team doesn't want to attack, like in this Atletico game here, 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲𝗪𝗁 and 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲𝗪𝗁 have barely had a touch, and they're both technically absolutely outstanding, and they can kill you when they get a touch. But then when they get the 1 or 2 touches and a half and they don't do something with it, it is like, oh man, that was that one moment we needed something from you.
Yeah,
so
Rodri's been all over him as well when we got.
Well, there's that pressure on you then to deliver on that moment, right?
Yeah.
It's back to what we were saying a minute ago. I don't think he's going to get that.
Rodri's claiming, but I don't think there's anything in that.
I don't think there's
even
much
as
in
a
there.
Stone the wall blue, but I can't see that.
Ref had a quick gym session before the game.
It's a strange one, though, because obviously you want your players to claim for fouls, etc., etc. But it does feel an element of that kind of thing there, where you go.
There's gamesmanship there.
I'm not sure, but also you're also a bit like, surely your head hasn't gone already.
Here we go. Let's have a look.
I feel like he slips, but I'm not 100%.
Oh, he's kind of ran into him, to be fair. I mean, I wouldn't say, I don't know.
I don't think there's enough.
He steps on him.
I don't think he's ran towards him. It's more they collided a little bit. I see why De Bruyne went down, but I'm not necessarily sure it was a penalty. What's the ref doing?
I don't know. Maybe VAR?
No.
Ref's
I think that's fair.
Well, the ref's got one there. He's gone right. It's not free. It's not a penalty, and it's definitely not a free kick either. It's just get back to the old game, shall we, boys? But Atleti will start. Look, 5 minutes to half time now, right? Atleti will do this, and look, I don't.
We haven't had a shot on target yet, to be fair. So keeper's not had a save to make. So
but I don't think this is a negative. If you're Atleti at this point, of course you're doing this. Of course you're trying to slow the game down. Yeah. Of course you're trying to be like, right, get to half time, we reset again, because this would be dreadful to concede now, considering the half that they've had and the way that they have stopped City creating anything of real note.
Yeah, a goal right now, then their whole plan has been undermined.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
and that's how that's how quickly it can change.
Exactly. Then the pressure's on him a little bit. I mean, to be honest, it's the longer it's gone on, the more me as a fan I've been frustrated, probably not the word, but definitely a little bit more like I've seen this before. You sense it and you start to realise, is this actually going better for Atletico than it is for City? And it's a very hard question to answer that.
But it's like
it's always going to be going better for Atleti unless you score.
Because
because that's the whole point.
So
it's like if it was 0-0 in the Liverpool Benfica game, despite the fact Benfica are at home, that would still be going better for Benfica. If you're the underdog, it's always better to be drawing, and therefore you're kind of a little bit stuck, even if one team is playing better than the other.
I feel like Foden would be very suited.
Yeah, no, I agree. Foden.
The space in the pockets is small, but he's so good in tight spaces.
I can't wait to see Foden back in midfield one day.
Ooh, this is the transition you're after. That's a foul. That looked like a foul.
Yeah, I mean that can be a different maker there. Good 20 yards out, De Bruyne stepping over.
Refs had a couple of those in both actual games, which I think is quite interesting. They're letting those kind of things go where a player goes round another player and runs into them where there's nowhere to go. Now, I think that's probably a foul for me, but
I think it's a foul in the game we've watched over the years, but in reality, where Bernardo's kicked the ball there, he's actually not going to get to it.
Yeah, so I did see Zeddy like kind of a little touch or anything like that to him down, but he looked like he ran into him. We'll see.
But I think that gets given 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a little thing going on there. This is a terrible effort from Stones.
A long ranger.
Yeah.
The Barnsley
Darwin's going again. He's offside. A high line, man. Everton's going nowhere.
Yeah.
No play it back again.
City squad showing that it's not as deep as people say it is these days.
Yeah.
2 academy players in the front there. Bete and Egan Riley.
Don't forget, you can follow all of the match action on the LiveScore app and website on our little widget, as you can see on screen right now. It shows you exactly what's going down in all of the games. Can't wait, love the widget. So it's always my favourite bit of any broadcast. I love when the widget turns
Go on,
up.
you widget.
I actually don't watch the games. I just sit here watching the widgets on my app. So that's the
I
exciting
believe
thing.
that's actually true.
Yeah,
It's the big takeaways. What do you do? I just watch widget games on my laptop.
Widget fan, not a football fan.
Yeah, widgets FC.
Oh, he's in on the other side. Oh. Look, to be fair, the refs. What on earth has happened there?
It's another one. Look, they're starting to kind of draw those a little bit. I
he
think,
just
and they're looking for them because they know that it's the way out and it's the way of releasing the pressure.
Yeah. Bizarre though. He's just flicked the ball about 40 yards away from himself. He's not going to catch it, even if he
It goes back to what we said a minute ago. Yeah, all of that.
They didn't actually show the highlights for that foul, so clearly it probably wasn't a foul. He's in if he plays it.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, he's delayed it. Ooh. Am I questioning Mane though? Yes, I am. He delayed that way too long. The 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗃𝗪 combination's 100% worked.
Oh,
that would have been nice.
Lucky from. There's just some nice stuff going on in this final third from Liverpool. But also,
He's
one of the
offside.
really interesting things is looking at how high. I mean, not right now, obviously, because they're right back on the edge of their own box. But how high Benfica have defended compared to where Atleti have been for this whole half. And you're looking at two teams, there who you're expecting to be underdogs. And Liverpool have got in behind time and time again. Whereas City have had none of that joy, and I do think that is just Atleti being a little bit more savvy and a little bit more defensively adept in a European game. They know what they're good at, and they do it to perfection quite a lot of the time. Now,
well, also you're playing against Liverpool, who have perfected wide forwards making inverted runs all the time. So regardless of who's in possession, if it's not sort of Salah making that run, it's Mane. I think. For City, Sterling will do that, but although he's played really wide this game, but Mahrez isn't going to make a diagonal sprint when the midfielder's in possession. I think that's probably one of the other differences at the moment where Liverpool are having a lot of joy because they've got that run every time. Darwin might be away.
Oh, there we go.
It's a good foot race, this.
His touch is letting
Just
down.
a pest, he's still there. He's still sort of poking his legs
his
around.
touch has let him down though. He gets that right. He's in behind.
My
He's
God.
talking of him behind.
The little dummy and
he's
he's shooting, mate.
That's an insane. Was that Trent again?
Yeah, he's put it from under his legs, and that's outrageous.
Yeah, I didn't even see it. I've got a
Oh God, it's really opened
here we
up.
go.
This Rafa's in.
Rafa's quick as well.
Oh,
There's a
I
lack
think
of.
he might have to square that. I'm
Yeah,
afraid.
he should square that. He should square it first time.
Panicked.
Yeah. Also, he's got Virgil van
big
Dijk
man.
breathing down his neck. It's easier said than done.
I mean, look at that weight of
That's
that pass.
just outrageous. I think you just can't stop it from bouncing. He's can't quite catch the
He
bounce.
might have to lift it over the keeper
Still should
first
score
touch
there, I
there.
think, Salah.
I think.
Yeah,
His
100%
quality.
should score though.
He should be lifting it here, I agree.
Yeah.
Good save, to be fair.
It is a good stop. Odysseus Vlachodimos had a good Champions League. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
There it is. What a
Greek
player.
beast, the Greek beast.
He's been very, very good in this side. He's kept them in
2-0 at half time.
2-0 at half time. There we have it.
I said 2-0 at half time.
Said 2-0 at half time. I think it could stay 2-0.
Yeah, that's
the
where
big
it's staying.
takeaway. A little bit end to end there at the end. That was a little bit all over the shot.
Look at Atleti's
wow.
stats. That's ridiculous.
Wow.
They've not even tried to have a shot on goal.
They're not even trying to pass the ball.
Well, this is it, right? So let's talk these through. Atleti, 0 attempts on target, 0 total attempts, 0 corners, 1 offside. They have had 30% ball possession. Were you expecting much else?
No, I mean, I wasn't expecting no shots whatsoever, not even a speculative long range. But
They've been about their half.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I guess the disappointing thing for City is not a shot on target. It isn't unfamiliar that we've seen it when games like this where City fail to score. It tends to be that they don't get the shots on target. It's not that you don't create the chances, you just don't get the shots on target. Full stop. We started to just ping it from long range. I don't think anyone will be disappointed. I don't think Guardiola will be concerned because I think the players are playing as well as they can against an incredibly tough low block to break down. Obviously, Simeone will be really happy because that's their plan. That is their plan.
It's just two plans that are currently playing out against each other.
Whichever one plays out over the next, 120 minutes, 135 minutes best. And I still have a lot of confidence to see it will score. I do think we'll see a change in this. Guardiola has a tendency when things aren't necessarily unbroken to not make any changes. He doesn't like making substitutions, but I do think we'll see probably Foden because he's the one that people expected to start. So in the second half, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him on maybe as the false 9 or something like that. I'd bring him on the left personally, but we'll see.
Yeah, okay. I mean, before we get on to Liverpool, do remember to get in touch with us using the hashtag #LiveScoreWatchalong, and we will endeavour to answer as many of your questions as we can, especially in this second half. But 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲 2-0 to Liverpool, comfy, I think would be how I'd put it.
Yeah, this seat's very comfortable right now, I can't lie. It was a cosy first half. I mean, just looking at the Liverpool stats there, they've had 12 attempts. In obviously contrast to City, we've had none.
6 shots on target as well for Liverpool, very impressive.
And they've had big chances. Salah's just had that chance right before the end of the half. Mane had one earlier. I don't think Liverpool are particularly stretched. I don't feel like I'm watching Liverpool have to struggle to be 2-0 ahead. I think it's pretty comfortable. I can imagine Liverpool go get 3 and 4 potentially in the second half. But this is the exact situation Liverpool wanted. Like, get to half-time, in control, take the foot off the gas even more in the second half. I think Liverpool have been playing with the foot off the gas in the first half. And reserve the energy for the big one on Sunday. Yeah,
well, there is that to consider, and I suppose it was always going to be the case. I mean, obviously, Liverpool have had to travel where City haven't, so there's that to consider, and the fact that that will play in City's favour. It will play less in City's favour, that Liverpool could have this sewn up by half-time and won't have to be worrying about it. And City are going to have to continue to try and break down what is an incredibly offensive, or an incredibly defensive block in many ways.
The only thing is for City, I guess, is that we're not having to run too much. You know, maybe sort of a lot of the ball, and obviously, to be honest, I think this is relatively good preparation as well, because I mean, if you want a game that sharpens your senses ahead of a massive title chase, you know, a battle against a Simeone side it's as good as it gets, really. I mean, I think weirdly City will get more chances or more space against Liverpool than they will against Atletico.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, if anything, I think that's a good thing. You know, I think it's a good thing for us, because we're essentially now we're being incredibly focused, really working for a chance. Whereas we'll go into the game, I hope, with that same mentality. And because we'll be, you know, as persuasive, we'll tend to be as forceful as we are here, I think we'll create a few chances because we'll be ready for it. So I'm hoping we'll play that way, that this will just get us in the mood for it.
Is there a sense, I know, and I agree with you on Guardiola not making changes kind of for the sake of making changes while City are playing relatively well in this game, but is there a sense that you might look to someone who just sort of ducks in a little bit more, and you know, your mind immediately goes Phil Foden?
It's Foden.
You know, in those gaps, in those tight areas, just making that one pass that comes off.
Yeah, and to be honest, even more than that as well, Phil Foden's probably been our best penalty box poacher this year. I mean, he scored a few lovely little first-time finishes that strikers would be proud of, and I would say he's probably more instinctively that way tuned. So I wouldn't be surprised if Guardiola brings Foden on for one, that ingenuity, that footwork, and that kind of big game mentality he's got, and two, because he can score a goal. And he scored some important ones in Champions League as well last season in particular. So that's the obvious one. I do think Foden is the kind of guy as well who come off the bench and react to being not dropped as such, but you know, rotated. He's got a very kind of big game attitude, Phil Foden, which I do like about him, and it obviously means a lot to me as a City fan as well, and that kind of stuff can help in a game when it's that tight, that little bit of edge that you can get from that. So hopefully, I mean, tactically it makes sense, and emotionally it makes sense.
Yeah, you just need someone who's busy. Like,
busy boy, yeah.
It's just not like City are playing exactly as we expected the game to be, but it's not busy. Like, there's actually not much danger for Atletico.
There's an argument that maybe you could really mix up. It'd be harsh on Mahrez, given he's our leading goal scorer and he's had an incredible season, but Sterling was so effective on the right against Burnley. I know it's Burnley, but Burnley aren't that too dissimilar. You know, they're like a very light version of Atletico, and but he was great on the right. Yeah, Atleti light, the BTEC version. But I'd put Foden on the left maybe, where he's had great duel last year in the Champions League. Put Sterling over on the right. That could be an option, so you get more natural width, you know. That would definitely change the balance. Not necessarily sure it'd be a good thing, but it'd be something to try.
Yeah, I mean, it'll bring Jack Grealish on and let him run, and let him carry the ball.
Spread those legs.
Well, exactly. Maybe do actually let someone run for a bit, even if that isn't the right thing ahead of the game on the weekend. And talking substitutions to made, how early does Klopp go, thanks very much, let's just rotate this side, that will do? I mean, there's going to be players on the bench hungry to come in and make a difference, and and also try and play their way into a starting 11 for Sunday.
Jurgen doesn't often tinker, and I think a lot of that, especially in this sort of fixture, a lot of that is to do with mentality. I think where he's sort of going, we're not taking our foot off the gas, we're not taking our foot off their neck whilst the foot's on there. We're not we're not unstoppable, we're not invincible. We've got to play every game at that like intense 110%. I think that's his philosophy, and he's always been that way. I imagine maybe 60, 70 minutes, you've got to get Thiago off. Like, you've got to wrap that guy in cotton wool, keep him in an ice chamber, whatever he needs, give it to him. And same for Gnabry as well. And we've got midfielders who can come on. I imagine Milner will definitely come on because the Champions League and Milner always gets an appearance. And I imagine Jota will probably come on. But I don't think Liverpool will go, yeah, we're going to completely just chill now. And I don't think Liverpool are similar to City in that sense, where if City are beaten, say, Burnley on the weekend, that you can sort of like just keep passing and moving the ball and let the ball do the work. It's such an old but simple saying. Liverpool won't do that. Liverpool will still keep going, yeah, we want 3, we want 4, we want 5, if we can get it.
The energy,
yeah.
Oh, you absolutely should go for that. I mean,
if you can finish the tie,
definitely.
then you have these 2 games against City. Yes, you might be slightly more tired in the first one, but you get a little bit more of a rest between games, right? So there's that element as well. Right, we're going to take a look at the trends across both games in the first half. It's time to go to Stats Corner. Sam, what you got for me?
Well, we can start with Manchester City against Atletico Madrid. This game is going pretty much exactly as anyone would have expected. It's attack versus defence. City with roughly 73% possession in that first half, and it's a case of, can you break Atletico down? Pep Guardiola will not be surprised. This is his task, and he would have had the luxury, essentially, of designing a team specifically for this task. Now, this is ultimately how they've ended up on the pitch. We were asking before the game, is it going to be Bernardo Silva? Is it going to be Gundogan, who plays as the false 9? The answer is kind of both, but also kind of neither. And they're sort of sharing the same role, and unfortunately that role is not necessarily being too involved, or not involved enough, I think, for Pep's liking. And if you take a look at the touch numbers and the pass numbers, Stones, Laporte and Ake have clocked up the passes and touches. They're seeing loads of the ball, and Bernardo and Gundogan are the lowest 2 on the pitch for Manchester City. So the team isn't joining up properly. Atletico will be very happy about that. This pass connections map is pretty disgusting, to be honest with you. It's not really what you want to see. There's very little depth to the team. There's very little penetration. We saw earlier that City were struggling to connect any passes into the box, and this map pretty much illustrates that. So for me personally, I heard you guys talking about substitutions at half-time, whether Phil Foden would be able to make a difference. I personally would start by moving João Cancelo onto the left. He's always been more effective there. He plays at funny angles that defenders can't quite get to grips with. And if you're looking to use Gundogan and Bernardo Silva's movements in that left half space and try to interlock and try to manipulate Atletico's centre-backs, then get one of your best passers from that area intrinsically involved into that. Don't leave it to Nathan Ake, because it hasn't really worked out so far, and I don't think anyone expected it to.
Yeah, I mean, very, very interesting. I mean, Stephen,
I would agree with that.
That passing map is horrible. It really is horrible.
It's not a pretty
obviously there are kind of caveats to it, and the way that the game has been played within basically such a squeezed third means that that's always going to be somewhat the case. But you know, Sam there, I think he makes a very valid point. We talked about Ake and his inability to progress the ball in the same way that a Cancelo drafting
out the defenders, the best ball progressor in terms of, well, essentially you've got Ake, who's probably our worst passing centre-back playing left, and given that they've offered so little going forward, I would honestly, I think Sam's spot out. People still over to the left and probably put Stones over to the right, and Stones is actually a better pass than people give him credit for. It'd be much more, it would help us a lot more going forward, and weirdly Stones, as he played it right back recently, he kind of did this whole like bulldozing, getting forward kind of take on a fullback. It was quite fun to watch him, and
rumbler.
Yeah, that's the technical term, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
the rumble.
Term.
Yeah, the false right back. But I would like to see that, because it's almost like we've got the centre backs have had it relatively easy, and Ake, I think, the work he's done mainly, I don't think it would make any difference if he's playing at centre back, and just get Cancelo over there. Especially with Sterling, obviously, kind of. Yeah, willing to make those runs, but yeah, I agree.
Okay, all right, let's go to the other game. What about Liverpool versus Benfica?
Yeah, a much better night's work for Liverpool so far compared to Manchester City. Liverpool very, very comfortable. Nebeda's absolutely nailed it, and he has every right to feel very comfortable on his seat on my sofa. It's okay, Nebeda, don't worry, I've moved past it. But Liverpool have impressed me not only because they've seized the initiative and they've dominated possession and they've created chances. Obviously, Trent is an absolute wonder when he's in this kind of passing mood. But Liverpool have also been quite aggressive in hunting the ball down. Even at 2-0, when you did wonder, could they take the foot off the gas and just sit in? Not happening. And there's one player in particular, I think, that's not so obvious but will illustrate this quite nicely, and it's 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗃𝗏 𝗪𝗃. Now, obviously, he's the man of the night anyway because he scored a goal, but he's been very aggressive on the halfway line, and he's playing in that channel that Darwin Núñez loves. Benfica have had very little in the first half, mostly because they've been unable to service Darwin in any kind of consistent way, and Konaté needs immense credit for that. It is not easy to play on the halfway line in a Champions League game against a player like Darwin Núñez, who has incredible speed and incredible physicality, and Konaté is more or less nailing it. You can see from the touch map, he's got loads of touches in advanced areas, he's creeping into the extra half, so into the opposition half, and he's making life very difficult for Benfica. He's trapping them in on their own turf. He's been very good, and Liverpool have been excellent.
Very good, very good. I mean, 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗏 Konaté having a wonderful night's work, all full stop. That battle we talked about with Darwin, I'm excited to see what happens in the second half with it, to be perfectly honest. But it's true, Konaté is being able to step out, be aggressive, and also, you know, there's an element of this is if you are with Darwin on the halfway line, and I agree in terms of what we spoke about earlier, sometimes you can just let him go when he's on his own, he's isolated. But if you are in there in those areas and you are going man to man, it doesn't mean you get away with a few more fouls than you might do further up. And you can go, all right, if Darwin's getting past me here, I can just body check him, and you're probably going to get away with it. Whereas you do that on 25 yards from goal, and you're probably in trouble. Yeah,
I think also as well, there's so much space behind him that Darwin's got to beat him in a 40-yard sprint, and Konaté's rapid. And then you've also got Virgil who can come over, and Alisson comes off his line. All of a sudden, Darwin's playing against three very exceptional footballers, and those odds are very slim.
Footballers, aren't they, as well? Very physical footballers.
Yeah. And that's what as Sam said, what Konaté's done really well is just squeeze the pitch. And when Darwin has got away, I think he's had a little shirt tug, he clipped him once, neither were giving us fouls, so you've got away with your two there. He might put another few in and might get pulled up on one, but you take that, he's playing the odds there, and he's done it really, really well.
He's playing the odds really, like you say, really well, and he's making it look not easy, because it never looks easy against someone as busy as Darwin, but he's making that kind of battle look like it's working in his favour, and that's part of the thing, because you're seeing refs not give those fouls, not give those little ones that are 50-50. And as soon as those ones start going in the striker's favour, you're in a little bit of trouble. Yeah. As soon as, when he's getting more frustrated and more upside down about where it all is, that's when it gets a bit tricky. So here we go, underway again in Manchester. A little while to go in Lisbon by the looks of things.
False nine watch, Sterling's in false nine now.
Yeah. That was going to happen at some point.
That deflected what happened? He's offside, but he deflected through.
But I say, was that a chance for Llorente?
I didn't think he was going to get there. It was a bit of a strange.
I think he must have known he was offside. He's miles off again.
Yeah, again, about 6 yards, but
no change at the back though so far. Nothing to report. But it'll just be interesting to see how that one develops.
I'm surprised if he. No, I was going to say might see Zinchenko because he's very good on the.
So good in possession.
Really good at helping us essentially progress the ball at the pitch.
Well, there is that, isn't there? There's that other kind of flip side, which is if you don't bring Cancelo over and you're a little bit concerned about what's going on that kind of left flank defensively, Zinchenko gives you a natural left footer on that side who is able to progress it. He's really
involved in the build-up as well, Zinchenko. Like he was crucial last season for us. Like because he's such an intelligent passer anyway. Because obviously he's got his midfield kind of heritage. He's he's just very comfortable on the ball, and much more comfortable than Ake ever would be. And so it's an option.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how it develops.
You know what's disappointing if you're
go great touch. That's a chance. That in a game like this, that's a chance.
Well, also it's a touch in the box.
Yeah,
and it's a completed pass into the box. There you go.
Any touch in the box is a chance.
Also, I think he's given a corner, but I actually think Sterling touches it. No, he doesn't. Has he given the corner?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I'm not sure anyone touched it. In which case, it did look like he took a deflection. But I just thought
that's poor.
You're in trouble now.
He's gone.
He's
away, but he's not.
He's got Felix with him far side. Llorente even.
He's overhit that, but that was poor from City. Really poor. That's how I play, ref.
You need to win that situation.
That's how you mess up a corner.
That's also Antoine Griezmann once upon a time is away and gone, isn't he? That's
Greasy not so speedy anymore, is he?
Oh, it's a bit. Obviously, it's not in terms of what he's just done in your capacity, team, but it's a bit heartbreaking watching Griezmann not be able to get away from Gundogan.
Gundogan as well. I mean, I understand it was Ake, but
you're like, Greasy, you're probably faster than. Oh, you once were very much faster.
You can see it in his eyes there. There was proper sadness in his eyes then.
Yeah. That's the darkness on the edge of town.
That what happened to me? You just realised right now.
He's been thinking, that must have been a really quick player catching up with me.
And
then you look back and it's Gundogan, you're like, no.
Like the slowest player on the pitch for City.
Oh dear. Well, still, Atletico can hurt you. If that's Felix, he's gone. This is the thing, right?
Still, there was 2 vaguely interesting moments in this game there. So that's a good start.
It's livened up the second half.
A failed counter and a half shot. Yeah.
Still, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's this level of this game.
Great touch from Koke. That's a foul.
I like play on ref. There's nothing in that. That's just physical.
I think he went back for the other one.
Yeah, he's doing a bit back tug.
We'll allow it.
He's just about. Luis Diaz has started this half with looks like he has a points to prove. He's like, hang on, I haven't scored yet.
Yeah. He's a gorgeous turn on the halfway line.
Yeah, he's off.
Unlucky. I was just going to say there, I don't know if Atleti, I don't know many Atleti fans, so I don't know their opinions, but I'm thinking if I'm watching these 2 games simultaneously like we are, and I'm going, Benfica are having a go, kind of having a go, not really having a go, but part of the reason they're not having a go is because they don't have the players to have a go.
They're making that's the thing, so.
Say again?
But
they're in the game, whereas like I'm looking at Atleti and I'm going, mate, if you played a little bit higher, yes, you might sacrifice a tiny bit more defensively, but City aren't really on it at the moment.
But is that mad? Is that madness? Because Atleti are in the game. Benfica are not.
Yeah,
they're creating stuff, absolutely 100%. But look how open they are.
But they haven't got the players. Like they're too open. But I'm saying if Atleti play a few more yards further up the pitch, a tiny bit more open, and because of the players they've got going forward, they could actually do something.
Yeah.
Whereas
I just think because we've seen. I mean, obviously, I was going back to that kind of thing about the 6 meters and whatever. But suddenly they've won 6 in the shot.
True.
Like it's almost a bit like. It's like they try and get away from Cholismo. And last season, let's have it right, they did. They moved away from that a little bit and they went and won the league. But by God, it was squeaky bum time at the end. It was really, really like, they've run away with it and they suddenly let everyone back into it. And you were like, hang on. And this is because Atleti were playing like more openly than I've ever seen them play. This year, they started out trying to do the same. It hasn't worked and they've gone back to Plan 1.
This is bad.
Or Plan 2. And Plan 2 is working.
Slide him in. Oh, wrong side. Actually, might not be. Shoot! Oh, what are you doing, Marcos Llorente?
City being really sloppy from their own corner.
That's the first shot on target in the game.
I wasn't even a shot. He was trying to cross it. Oh, Darwin Núñez is in.
And Darwin Núñez has scored.
Maybe.
I told you. What was I just saying a minute ago? You can create situations.
Just went straight
Darwin Núñez.
Darwin scored.
Ties alive. That was Canate's fault.
5 minutes of his value, hasn't he? Scored against Liverpool.
What's happened at the start of the second half? So all the managers have gone, listen, there's a big watch-along going on. Yeah. We need to turn it up.
We need to get everyone
on. The LiveScore watch-along's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us some.
They need something to talk about.
What's he doing, Canate? He's had a mare there.
Oh, it's real
He also
bad.
drops to his knees to try and block it. Watch, you'll see in a second.
That was channel Jimmy Traore.
It's a lovely touch. It's a lovely touch from Darwin though, because obviously he doesn't. He's not expecting to take that ball down.
It's a really good.
And then suddenly finishes it as well. Beautiful work from the number 9.
Ibu Canate.
You do risk poking the beast with Liverpool though, don't you? Like no. If you fancy yourselves now, there's an element of you go, could this now be 5?
But look at the flags. The fans are going mad for it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've got to give it a go, right? There's no point if you're not. Unless you're able to just hang in game.
I think they played pretty well, but I think it's fair to them. So
they have, but Liverpool also could have scored 4 in the first half. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that because Liverpool are obviously excellent, but there is that element. It just feels like
I did say
the whole game's a little bit more open.
I did say 2-1. Does it count if it's 2-1 on 60 minutes?
Yeah, that's actually what it is. Yeah, that's what we
prediction.
We famously predict games for 60 minutes, and then the end of it is just like, see what happens next.
That's what I thought it was.
Oh, sorry. Did you read the text wrong?
What do you think the first hour score would be? For no reason whatsoever. We never got a full score.
Just for the crack.
Then we just watched the rest of the game by widgets.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm watching the whole game by
Yeah.
widgets.
Widget
don't
watch.
use it there.
Widget says
Thiago.
Darwin scored. It is a City free kick in a relatively nice little position here.
Fans are
It'd be
getting
nice to be
well
the
up
first
for
man
it.
from
Benfica.
this.
Oh, that's poor from the Benfica midfielder. I think it's Taarabt actually trying to nutmeg Fabinho. Salah! Wake up, man.
It could well be. Oh, this is
This is a good place, actually, yeah. I don't... Maybe a little bit far. I need to see how far it is, but... De Bruyne's got a
Big
good goal in,
opportunity.
big goal in a free kick in a big game.
You did call it before the game. De Bruyne and a big goal in a big game. That's a great position.
Oh,
You don't know if
that's
it's
got-
right. You don't know if it's left.
The special players do special things from special
special
places.
moments in
Yeah.
special games.
Especially in a special game.
If it goes in, that's
Against
gonna-
special keepers.
Yeah. I need to specify that.
It is actually quite far.
Yeah, it's a bit too far.
It's quite a nice angle though.
It
Because
is.
a
It's
right
the
or a
right
left
angle,
foot
but
could
I'd
go
say
for
4 yards a little bit further forward would be
Yeah.
perfect. But I
4.
guess he's got the pace on his shot, De Bruyne, to be fair to him. I don't think it should be Mahrez.
Liverpool have become really sloppy for the last few minutes. He's offside.
He's
Can't
miles
be,
offside.
yeah.
Alisson's already there.
Go
Oh,
on, Kev.
he's bending this in, isn't he?
Oh, what are
Oh,
we
Darwin's away
doing?
again, by the way.
Now
was-
he's got another one. It's worked.
That was
It's
terrible.
worked. It's
That was
worked.
I mean, that was just absolute
They've
nonsense
just gained.
to see.
They've just gained 10
It's
yards.
like rugby, just gaining every
Yeah,
yards.
yeah.
Mahrez
just-
is taking it this time.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that Kanate goal again.
What are
Sorry,
you
Darwin
doing,
Núñez
City?
goal. Kanate's just got to deal with that.
I mean, we got a better free kick, but still.
You said 4 yards further forward, you got 14.
I did, yeah. But I mean, this is Gundogan territory for me, actually.
Yeah, he loves a little
Yeah,
slide
he
down
does,
the
yeah.
side or under the wall.
Surely
good work,
Bernardo also.
Ronaldo's never takes free kicks for City.
He used to. Back not for City. He
But
used to
say
take
that,
them
I
at.
remember
He used to take them at Monaco sometimes. Fabinho took a lot of them actually.
Yeah,
We've
he
got,
did.
to be honest, City
Um,
do have decent free kick
He,
takers.
just as you say that, he's come and got involved. But
Yeah.
they've said, no way, mate.
They've also they've gone go away.
Yeah.
But like,
What are you doing,
he's
boy?
like, can I have a go? Like, no.
I'm
move."
surprised Gundogan actually, because Gundogan, yeah, it's got to be De Bruyne.
I'm
right?
saying goal there.
It's got to be.
I can feel it.
What special player, special moment.
Yeah.
Bernardo Silva and 𝗟𝗶𝘃 are having the
In a
most
game
like,
like this,
pathetic
this is
little
a-
scrap I've
yeah,
ever
this is
seen.
a
I really
big-
enjoy it.
Big moment in a game like this.
Yeah.
This is as clear a chance as you'll probably get.
Oh!
Keeper
That was
did-
close.
He did really well to get it out from under him as well. That's a lovely touch. Oh,
That's a foul.
Yeah, that's a foul.
Necessary foul though.
Also, it is a necessary foul. It's also like one of those things where 𝗟𝗶𝘃 has just been like, right, let's just lease the pressure here. Shall
Yeah.
we? Like,
He's kind of
so,
really right
um,
at keep at the end, but
yeah.
He's done well.
He'd be
there.
very upset if he didn't save it, but he's
Yeah.
done well to get it, to scramble it away.
probably
from
needed
the
a little bit more
rebound.
power, didn't he, on it, just
Yeah.
to so the deflection
Yeah.
fell someone, but yeah.
Benfica have had a lot of encouragement in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, another one over the bar.
Game's got to be
there.
better, haven't they? At least, anyway. You know?
It's all got a bit more exciting. It's all
Especially-
it's all fun.
It was nothing too
Fun
bad over
game.
there. It's just my side. Decided just to wake up a little bit.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Well,
City.
Atleti seem to have
Yeah,
woken up
Atleti
as
are having a
well.
bit of
Yeah,
go.
they have, yeah.
Diego Simeone, listen to what I said.
Well, they'll have. Yeah, I mean, this is
Got
it.
the
They'll be
vibes.
pleased with.
Yeah.
They'll be pleased with their 45 minutes. They'll be like, right, maybe we can open up
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit more.
Token shot.
They've had quite a few.
Yeah, they've
half
had a token shot.
situations.
That's it. They've had that now. They're off.
Yeah.
That'll be that. One break from a corner and one token strike, and away we go.
Come on, City.
Also
I will
not-
be nervous in 0-0 at full time, not going to lie.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous now. Not because I don't think Liverpool are going to win, but the
Oh,
game's
you're
just
fine.
completely
Don't worry
turned on
about
its head.
You should be nervous. That's my perspective as a City fan, knowing Liverpool at the moment. Like, I don't think you've got anything to worry about.
I mean, look, City have only failed to score in one of the last 28 games in the Champions League under Pep, and I think they're averaging something like 2.8 goals a game. So, I mean, there is an element that even if
Benfica
City
are-
don't score tonight, as long as they don't concede, you still
Yeah, I
expect over
expect us to
two
score,
legs.
yeah.
You know, they're gonna notch one.
Oh, ball. It's a lovely ball.
Oh,
Oh, he's dragged that
dragged
still,
it,
but that's a
yeah.
lovely intelligent
I
pass from
think
De
he's
Bruyne.
crossing it, you know.
I
Do you reckon?
think it
Yeah,
might
the
be
way
a
he
bit
sort
of
of like wrapped
back
his
stick.
foot around it is quite weird if he's hitting it.
It is Sterling. He does have an interesting technique. He's on side.
Rafa Silva's starting to
No,
get
he's trying
involved
to
in this
smack it.
game.
I think he's trying to
He's
smack it.
absolutely scuffed it.
Yeah, he has.
Ooh, that was a good moment for Benfica again.
Rafa Silva is starting to get a
Yeah,
grip
he
on
is.
this in the same way that he did in the second half against Ajax in the last round, and that proved.
The fans are buzzing now, as you would be. You just
Yeah,
scored against
yeah,
Liverpool and you're
absolutely.
absolutely up for it. Pep is frantically moving for the ball, and Atleti are making free
That's,
changes.
that's a massive,
Yeah, it is.
massive chance for Darwin.
Oh, it really is.
Can't
It's
lie,
huge.
Kanate's gone from being an aggressor to getting he's a bit tangled at the moment. He's a bit all over the shop. I think Matip gives you that control where he's so trusty. Konate, being young, does have them moments and has had it a few times, but clearly for his athletic.
Who do you think will play at City? Centre back?
Matip.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think in possession, Konate is very good in possession, but I think Matip's played so long for Liverpool that like there's almost like this. It's like instinctive and it's trust. Yeah,
he's experienced. They'll go for experience against City, I presume.
The game's changed. Konate's just pulled Nunez down and it's been given a foul.
Ah, there you are.
Yeah,
That's you can tell the momentum's changed.
Yeah, it's definitely a foul.
3 changes, right? That's
I think he did that against United.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he. I think Rodrigo de Paul played that game, but I think he subbed on Koke for Rodrigo de Paul.
Rodrigo de Paul was absolutely unbelievable in that game as well.
Yeah, it was.
Liverpool are.
So, sort your feet out, Salah. What's up with you, mate? Got a fresh trim and everything for this game.
It's
I
really thought this would be the end of the bad spell. That's excellent from Darwin. Look
at that. He loves it.
Yeah, exactly. This is also the player. This is the player you want at that point. The kind of the big burly kind of centre forward coming back, winning a goal kick for you, and then giving it large to the crowd. That's the encouragement you're after, isn't it?
He just loves it, and he's such a problematic player. That was weird.
Yeah,
probably was a
Bernardo. I think Bernardo's fallen over, and Greasy's body just happened to be there.
It's just everyone's just in the way of each other as opposed to anything else.
It's definitely fallen over.
All the little, fellas in one area of the pitch together. Felix, Griezmann, Bernardo, just like bopping around, having a good time.
You know what? I actually think 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗃 is quite tall. I think 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗃 is a big boy.
He's definitely not that big.
I reckon he's 6 foot.
He might be now. He wasn't.
Sam, the stats man,
I'm still
please.
not having Salah's 5'10", by the way.
When we go to stats corner next, I'll get Sam to check on his height. But we'll give that a minute.
Griezmann's off.
Rodrigo de Paul.
Koke, Griezmann.
Who did Griezmann come off for?
Angel Correa.
Oh, they are just literally there. It's like for like, isn't it? Although Correa on that break gets away. He might not score, but he gets away.
Oh, he's bringing on Matheus Cunha for Marcos Llorente.
Oh, that's an attacking change.
Yeah, it is. Thiago's just giving possession away again.
Interesting.
Oh, Rafa's causing problems. That's a yellow for Thiago.
It's got to be, surely.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Or is that the moment that you go 60 minutes on a yellow card? Thanks very much, Thiago. Yeah. It's been a pleasure.
Let's bring Milner on.
Yeah. Or Henderson. This is like one of them. Just calm things down a little bit.
Yeah,
in that moment of panic.
It's just become a bit frantic. Henderson is the guy for this sort of moment. Yeah. I wouldn't say Milner is. He obviously brings experience, but it's such a lazy thing to say that like, hey, you got experience, he'll do it for you. He hasn't got the legs, nor at the moment, like for the pace of this game, he's just going to get overrun. Whereas Henderson can not only keep the ball, he can also get it back for you.
Yeah, just bodies at this point.
Yeah, they're on it, Oh, it's a sloppy touch from Darwin Nunez. Oof! Everyone's fancying it now. Keep it nice and calm, Ali.
On the deck, and that's when you want your keeper to fall over. Have a couple of seconds there, just calming things down.
Come on, City.
Who was the strike from? Fair play keeping it down, because those ones always scream over the bar.
Is that Julian Weigl in the middle? Because that's who had the shot. That is Julian Weigl.
Weigl's wearing 27 and Thurat's wearing 49.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's Julian Weigl. Liverpool making 2 changes as well. Firmino and Jota. I imagine that'll be Diaz and Salah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Foden's warming up.
Salah's going to be fuming when he comes off,
Well, he will be, because he would have looked at this as an opportunity to, and also from those first 5 minutes we were talking about it, he was in behind twice.
Yeah.
He'd have gone, right, I'm going to have joy on joy tonight, and suddenly you're looking at him.
He's had his chances, though.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The opportunities have been there.
Yeah.
It's just been...
They're in again, by the way. Matheus Cunha against Laporte. Oh, he's got to shift out from under his toes. You can play for a corner there, boy. Oh, throw in.
He's got to throw in.
Bit of territorial play for him.
Yeah. Oh,
Benfica
been spun again. It's 2v... This is actually 3v3. And Darwin's in. If he gives it to him, he's got to give it to him.
He's got to pass it there. He has to pass it. That is absolutely scandalous.
Wow.
That's scandalous.
You would be so angry.
How do you not pass it to your top scorer there? He's the top scorer for them, isn't he?
He is the top scorer. He's top scorer in the Primera.
Yeah, that's just...
Konate's getting rattled
I know he's
there.
in a good place, but he's in a better place. As simple as
that is bad.
You got past that. I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm delighted he didn't pass it, because he was never going to score.
He doesn't even draw the defender either. Like, he doesn't like another touch to draw him in. He just did nothing and just held up and shot.
It's one of those, isn't it, where you're absolutely buzzing.
You got Henderson is in.
I think it's Mane off, for Firmino.
Don't feel like it should be level now. It's only Benfica.
Oh yeah, there's 2 or 3 big opportunities. Henderson is coming on, though,
Mr.
so that
Mr.
will.
Cool.
It is. There's the
Yeah,
calm down.
off you come, Thiago.
Right, there is substitutions going on. We're going to go to stats corner. Sam, how tall is 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗃𝗃𝗃?
Yeah, so I've got a picture of myself, Jack, and 𝗟𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 right here. And it can confirm that we are indeed 3 different heights. Yes, I am absolutely massive. Jack professes to be 5'7". That is under question. That is under question. But 𝗟𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 is a little bit taller, but not so tall. I would put 𝗟𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 at 5'10". 5'10" would be my estimation based on that time we stood next to each other.
Reasonable boy then.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. Do you have anything on the actual games?
No.
I did
Took
actually
him half an hour to plan that, you know.
Yeah. It's taking forever.
Oh, that's a big
Laporte,
chance, City.
what
That's
a
a big
chance.
chance. Oh, 𝗟𝗏𝗃, man. You've got to score that.
Who came off for Liverpool? I didn't see it because we were getting Salah.
It's a relatively free header.
Salah and Mane off, and Diaz has stayed on. We predicted
I
two
mean,
of
I
this.
suppose that in many ways
That's
he is
the
the player
weekend.
who knows his place best.
Yeah.
And that's got the weekend in mind, as you say.
Salah would be fuming as he was midweek.
Oh yeah,
Sorry, on the weekend.
absolutely.
Salah
That
just
I
come
mean,
off.
Yeah.
let's quickly run through that chance. That's huge. For
Just
City.
it's for a goal scoring defender as well. That Laporte is in a game where chances are premium. Yeah, so he was relatively unchallenged as well, so he's just got slightly under it. It's a big moment.
Okay, let's have a little look at the match momentum in this one, because as much as Atleti have had their moments in this second half,
I think the chart's broken.
Yeah,
It's just literally one side.
yeah, they've only delivered half of the chart, sadly, so we can't actually see. But I mean, it tells a story that you'd argue that up
funny.
to that Laporte chance, you know, Atleti have had the biggest chance in this game, probably and the opportunity on the break. Now, obviously, those things are going to be different, but City in control without necessarily being fully on top of this one.
Yeah. And well, in a game like this, it doesn't surprise me that Atletico had something on the break. They're too good not to, you know. But yeah, I guess it's slightly concerning that they've had the best chance of the game, despite all that territorial possession. But
Unreal from Naby.
yeah, it doesn't. I think when you play a team with Atletico, you have to accept a chance against you. I don't think it's.
Oh yeah.
you have to.
There's so much talent.
They're
in this
too good
squad.
not to, you know.
Yeah.
And it did come as well from our own mistake from the corner. So it's not like concerning in the sense that they broke us down. We just messed up.
Triple
substitution. Now this is a rarity. Like genuine, that is a once in a blue moon kind of moment.
So that's
Guardiola,
Foden,
Jesus,
Grealish, and
Grealish.
Jesus. So
That
who are the
is-
three that come off? Is it the front three?
Very possibly, yeah. I mean,
You'd say Sterling, definitely.
maybe I wouldn't be surprised if I think one of the midfielders, Sterling will come off.
Maybe Gundogan.
Maybe Gundogan. I think is a good
Drop
shout as well.
Bernardo into the middle a little bit more.
That's a really big change from Guardiola because he's never does this. But I wonder if he's got one eye on Liverpool as well. I
He's
guess.
probably seen Klopp make a load of
Yeah, he's
changes.
just like, what's Jurgen doing? That's really interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if we see essentially left to right Foden, Grealish, Jesus.
Foden, Grealish in the middle?
Maybe not. Maybe Grealish on the left actually. Though we've seen Grealish in the middle against Chelsea this season, I think.
Yeah.
Foden was on the left at that point.
That worked
I mean,
quite well that
obviously,
game, didn't it?
there's so
It
much
worked quite
things
well
you
that
can
game.
do.
Yeah, it did. We were
The
good
way
that
that
game.
you can rotate these teams, you know, it just goes, okay, everyone can sort of play.
I mean, they'll all play wherever.
Yeah, exactly.
I like those changes though, actually. I mean, I don't think it's working with the front three. If we do change them also, why not just try something entirely different? Which should be an element of their defenders having
It's
to adapt
momentum,
to it.
isn't it?
That-
This is ref. He's just nudged him out of the way there.
Oh, I'm
He's
surprised
used
De Bruyne didn't hit it.
His bottom to move him.
His bottom.
Yes. nearly
I
sent him else,
don't
but
think it's a penalty.
I don't think it is either, but I want it to be a penalty.
Oh yeah, that's
the worst foul I've
completely
ever seen in my life.
completely fair enough.
It's aggressive, to be honest. It's
You got to
offensive.
slide him in.
Kids are watching
Oh,
this game.
such a poor ball.
It really has opened up though. It has opened up. I imagine the pass maps have changed. We'll catch them at some point.
That's a great ball from
Yeah,
Trent
cool.
again.
Oh.
Oh, Robertson. How's your touch? Got to square that. Need to get this third goal, man.
I think he's tried to play that first time, hasn't
Yeah.
he, surely, as opposed to trying to take the actual touch from it.
Yeah.
Do you reckon when players are stood there and they see three players waiting to come on and they know they're about to come off, do you think there's an element of, right, I've got to do something? Because I would genuinely feel that as a player. Like, I know this is going to be my last few touches. And I would honestly use it as a tactic as a coach. I would have players lingering ready to come on the sidelines a little bit, just to give them a few minutes just to try and make a point.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird, but psychologically...
No, I think you're fair enough, because you're going, I don't want to come off here. And I think, you know, we said that about Salah a minute ago, debate. We were talking about, like,
Oh,
the
he
fact
has
he'd be
just
furious.
pushed him there. Like, he has to step across him. Watch this. I mean, I'm not sure if it's a penalty or not, but it's very intentional blocking of his path there.
I think you might get it somewhere else on the pitch.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's the weird those ones because they're not aggressive and like Sterling should have every right to be annoyed because he's just essentially just pushed him out of the way. It's not shoulder to shoulder either. It's like just with his hips. And that was Sterling's last involvement.
Interesting. All right, let's go to Sam in Stats Corner. Sam, what is the Atleti game plan?
Well, the triple substitution has brought about a change in formation, and nothing set in stone, obviously, but Atleti now look much more 5-4-1 rather than 5-3-2. And I think what Simeone has tried to do here has tried to make that midfield bank 4 rather than 3, and he's actually basically put 2 forwards in it. There is 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲𝗪 and 𝗟𝗃 who are both support strikers, and they're sitting either side of the midfield too. And he's brought on an exceptional link forward in Matheus Cunha. So I think what he wants to do is lump the ball up to Cunha, and then the person that he passes it back to, who can then sprint forward with the ball, isn't as slow as Antoine Griezmann. It's someone that can push forward, run 30, 40 yards with it, and actually be a bit more devastating or a bit more threatening in the final third. So Cunha to link the play, and now 2 players either side of the midfield block of 2 in order to try and carry the ball and any link play that they can get off Cunha.
Yeah, okay, very, very interesting. Thank you, Sam. Over in Lisbon, I think he just got in behind again, Abaid, and
he's a problem, man. He's a problem.
Darwin wanted a penalty. I don't know if it was one, but it wasn't miles off, whatever happened.
Yeah, it looked a little bit soft, but like I have seen them given.
He cut back inside,
yeah,
and then there's a little bit of contact, but it does look like he might well be playing for it a little bit. He's still asking for it.
We might see it now. I think because Van Dijk sprinted from a long distance, he's made the right choice to come back inside because you know the player who's got the pace is always going to
momentum's trying to carry
momentum. Yeah. I think he's probably put his arm across him, but
he's on.
Foden.
He's on, yeah, he's on.
Foden's already had what an involvement. Foden, come on! Phil Foden with the assist. Unbelievable little turn from Foden. Beautiful pass to De Bruyne. Come on, De Bruyne in a big game, a big moment. Kevin De Bruyne. That's what special players do. Special games, special moments, special keepers. Come on.
That's a big goal.
Phil Foden, once again, we talked about it at half time. You know, an intelligent player, you can find a little half space, play a lovely little pass. It'll mean something to him as well as a City fan. And Kevin De Bruyne, in a very Kevin De Bruyne space actually, just inside the right side and slightly past the keeper. It's a good goal after City. There we go. Here's the replay. Foden, this one, he's such an intelligent player.
So good in tight space.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time that the awareness and do you know what makes that goal? The 2-3 extra touches, little where he draws the players here now, a couple of little touches, and then puts it through the legs.
Yeah, a little nutmeg.
It's a really, it's one of those things where people like him make football look simple, but that is just, it's just beautiful football. And it's a beautiful finish.
We were saying that half time, he's so good in tight spaces.
Yeah.
And in that situation, most players are just going to get stopped. But the way the ball's just almost like under his feet, you can't get close
it's so close to his foot, the ball constantly. And it does draw 3 players in. And I guess there's a fear factor with Phil Foden as well to nail him. Everyone knows what he's capable of now, you know, and you go towards him because he's special and that's what he's done. And I love it. Come on, City.
That's a massive goal.
That's huge, that. And that's deserved, I think. Overall, it's on the momentum of the game. City have been the team trying to win it, you know, and it's been a toil, but Guardiola will be buzzing. The changes have made an immediate impact.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might start making free changes
Happy
more often.
days. Yeah, exactly. Maybe
or just subs in general.
Yeah.
Well, there's 5. You can make 5 at one time next year, so we'll see. I mean, we'll come back to the 5 subs in another lull in the game.
Very happy about that, Jack.
They did show the Darwin penalty appeal again. It is soft. But there is a hand in his chest as he turns.
Horrific foul. Horrific, Jack. That was brutal. Children are watching, you know?
City have scored, let's go.
Yeah, everyone's changing.
Oh. The game it's just turned into a basketball match. It's so strange.
But that seems to be a very strange thing for Liverpool to do.
That's what I mean.
Like, when you have a player, you have players of Darwin's, dynamism and pace and power, but also Rafa Silva's guile in there. Letting them have space to run into and run on the turn does seem like a strange little decision.
Yeah.
Here's the end of 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗲.
I don't think it's
the end of 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗲
for tonight.
I'd say that's quite dramatic.
The streets won't forget.
In comes 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗲, who was at Milan for a little while. Didn't really work for him there. Not really sure about this as a move to Benfica. He went out on loan various times, and then they've sent out a couple of other players on loan who might have played that spot.
I'm still very happy talking about that goal. I'm really happy, mate.
I'm just letting you have
the
your
release,
moment. I'm just letting you go.
You know, it's like when Guardiola as well absolutely chucked a water ball, but when you're playing against Atleti, whose tactic is essentially just to destroy and frustrate and get you back to their beautiful stadium, those little moments, they can define a whole tie, and it's just beautiful from Foden.
Yeah, it's glorious.
It really is. And De Bruyne this season, a lot of people haven't quite realised from the outside looking in how much he's become a goal scorer for City. Like he's more of a goal scorer than a creator these days because, of course, and he's coming off right now. I say that as he's 1 goal in 7 matches, but in general in the Premier League, he's scored quite a few. But yeah, he's been fantastic for us, and he's had this look in his eyes recently, De Bruyne, of a man who's found his fitness again. At the start of the season, he just looked old, to be honest, and he looked a little bit leggy, and I was a bit concerned that maybe, you never know until you see it over a period of time, but I was worried, is his age catching up to him and his injuries a bit? Yeah. But at the moment, he looks so motivated. And
he just looks sharp again, doesn't he?
He does, and he looks like he's willing to drag us through games, which the best players do, and Kevin De Bruyne, just a world-class player, and I'm buzzing.
Oh, absolutely.
So relieved from that.
100%. I wonder what the Atleti view on all of that is. Sam will tell us over in Stats Corner.
So substitutions change games, we know that much, and we've just got some more evidence. It didn't really go well for Atleti, that change, did it? I know that obviously they're trying to become a little bit more attacking, maybe judge that last 20-minute period as an area that they could maybe offer a bit more of a threat on the counter-attack, and as I said, they changed the midfield 3 into a midfield 4, but 2 of those 4 players were attackers, and to be honest, their defensive awareness kind of showed there. Foden did really well to wriggle into a gap that shouldn't really have been there. To be honest, 5 minutes before that, it literally wasn't there because another player was stood there. His name was Koke. He's a natural central midfielder. He is very good in that area. He's very good at blocking off passing lanes. 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲, it's not really his bag. He's a support striker. So Diego Simeone changes his formation and he tries to play some more attacking players in slightly deeper positions, probably to get a bit more thrust on the counter-attack. What happens? Foden wanders straight into that space, takes advantage of the fact that Felix isn't necessarily paying attention or isn't blocking the passing lane. Few good touches into De Bruyne, goal. So substitutions do change games. It's just unfortunately sometimes they change them in the way that you actually don't want them to at all.
Do you think you saw that, Sam? Do you think Guardiola noticed that obviously Foden went to there immediately as soon as he was on the pitch?
I don't know if Pep saw it or if it was Foden. Or it could have just been happenstance. I really couldn't say that at that point. But Foden had been on the pitch, how many minutes? 2? 1?
It did feel like one of those moments. And you said at the time, there is that kind of impetus as well of someone like Phil Foden. And I suppose the players around him. And look, it's him that creates that goal. But from that moment, Foden comes on, Grealish comes on, Jesus comes on, City push into a slightly more offensive shape. And suddenly De Bruyne is in there, flying around, making things happen.
I do wonder as well if, obviously those 3 substitutions followed their 3 substitutions relatively quickly, and there's an element of settling into the structure, finding space, and I do wonder if that was intentional to essentially just disrupt their disruption, if that makes sense, because they obviously tried to change it so much that counter it with your own form of chaos, I guess, and you have to adapt, don't you, to the positions, and at that point there's no Atletico would know where all those 3 are going to be on the pitch, It's just so recent, and I wonder if that was intentional.
But also considering how versatile all 3 of them are.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could be like, I'm not sure where they're going to go here, but they're going to go in somewhere, and it takes a minute to often pick up your man, especially if you're defending.
And no one went near Foden at all. You could see they didn't know who to pick him up, but it's getting a little bit more aggressive here.
It is. It's getting a little bit niggly in the middle.
We can do this. We can do this as well, Letty. He's a Colossus, Rodri, when he wants to.
There's not much in that.
No, that's perfectly good.
He's holding his knee actually after.
I mean, that's been given as a foul where Sterling one in the area was worse than that. I genuinely think it was.
It's
Rodri is not a happy man there.
No.
Rightfully so. They're both 6'2" strapping lads, and it's just it's coming together, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, what's going on over in Lisbon, because that momentum did seem to have shifted.
Yeah, Benfica just have. I don't know, for whatever reason, Liverpool have just decided we're playing basketball. I'm just a bit lost as to why Liverpool have chosen to. I mean, praise to Benfica, to be fair. They've bought the game to Liverpool in the second half and they've turned it into a bit of a basketball match. It does run the risk that Liverpool will score a third for Benfica, but also for them, no risk, no reward. If they get the second goal, it's 2-2 and they go to Anfield feeling like we'll get another goal, and you never know what could happen then.
Also, you go to Anfield off the back of being 2-0 down and pulling it back to 2-2. You're in a very kind of upbeat high energy place, aren't you? And
Yeah.
you know, and you're watching and going, right, Liverpool have a big game at the weekend, they have another big game the weekend after.
Yeah.
You're going, well, maybe
It's
we
good
can
news
get
as
the
a
best.
City fan. It's really good news. This, you know,
Oh yeah,
the game.
100%.
The tie's not even close
them
to over.
opening the game up means that this is going to be more intense. It's
Yeah.
going to be all of the above. Whereas City can, as we know, strangle, and kind of, even though they'll look for a second, they can play with that kind of confidence that they've got the goal they needed, and you move on from there. Whereas Liverpool now have to kind of, I don't know, maybe not press for a third because that's a bit ridiculous, but they definitely will have the impetus to drive on this.
Well, just as we've been talking in the last couple of minutes, it feels like Liverpool have got a bit of control in the game again, where they've actually held the ball for more than 10 seconds, which honestly this second half has not happened at all. They've barely had a chance. It's been very sloppy. Just then Robertson's just kicked it straight out of play.
Well, let's take a look at their average position map, shall we? Because it's still quite high, and that's where that space has come from. But it is also to a level. You have to look at it and go, this is how Liverpool try and make teams pay.
Yeah, I think also the right centre mid position and the left centre mid position and the DM position is so strange, because the DM is obviously Fabinho, and I have noticed in the second half he has been almost down that right channel where normally our right-sided six would play, which would be Henderson, and then your right-sided midfielder, who currently is 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲𝗧, is actually playing deeper than the holding midfielder, but he's also been playing off the left as well. So it's just a bit of a mess at the moment in midfield. I don't like that shape at all. Like, your holding midfielder should always be where the RCM is in that position, and your RCM should be a little bit more advanced.
There is the caveat that if 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲𝗓 started at one side and finished on the other, then his position map is going to be affected by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's more the Fabinho position. The second half, he's been really advanced. Which is
that
really
just Liverpool trying to be snappy? Is it them trying to win the ball high up? Is it trying to force those transitions in more effective places? Jota's just done absolutely unbelievably there.
He's probably going to get a foul for the foul before. No, he didn't get a foul. He's given a foul away.
He's not going to be very happy about that.
Fuming.
Um,
It could be maybe pushing Fabinho further forward allows Liverpool to pinch the ball back, but that's clearly not happened.
Play Bernardo.
That's incredible from Bernardo.
Bernardo's on his little jinking runs again. So is Foden. Foden's so good. What a footballer. Unbelievable Foden. Go on, Bernardo. Go on, Kev. That's a big chance. That could kill the tie, that.
Still there.
Still there.
Foden's been fantastic since he got on the pitch. That's the footwork then for Foden. This TV's about to go into standby, by the way. we need a button press.
Busy.
No,
look at that footwork.
The footwork from Foden is just sensational, but it really is very, very good. There's a lot of bodies in the way there.
Yeah.
You do see
any
De Bruyne.
button needs to be pressed.
But yeah,
you do see De Bruyne score them so frequently. He's a bit of a killer in them situations.
He's gonna make that happen, isn't he? And ultimately, we're looking at this and thinking
we have 20 seconds before TV goes off.
Those are the important bits. It's all right. We'll get that working. Don't you worry about that. That'll be fine. Let's go to Liverpool for a little hot second. And look how deep Bobby Firmino is. I mean, I know this is part of his role, but equally, he's deeper than Fabinho for that last bit.
Bit of panic at the disco over here. That's
Don't you
delightful.
worry.
See, he was saying about Fabinho there.
I need the game.
He's practically playing as a right-sided midfielder, which is so bizarre. It's really strange. I honestly think Liverpool have just been dragged into a bit of a boxing match.
Yeah, they didn't want to beat it. So yeah, but ultimately that's what Benfica wanted, and occasionally through sheer force of will, you can drag other people into
home atmosphere. We were saying at half-time how those little moments changed, little foul in the halfway line that wasn't in the first half, was given in the second half, and all of a sudden
and the crowd are on top of you.
Yeah,
and, all of the above. But
I can't lie, I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
To be fair, I get nervous even though I'm not a City fan or an Atletico fan. I get that little bit of like adrenaline rush. Go on, Atletico, go get a late goal. Like I'm like
you want it.
almost on the edge of my seat for that, purely out of an entertainment football perspective. And you're probably the same with Benfica.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, obviously because he plays into City's hands. Because I think there was a perception that they could get this done in the first tie leg, and there was, and I don't think that's been unfair to Benfica.
I don't. Also, I think that if it finishes like this, Liverpool would be relatively comfortable.
Of course
with the fact
they
that
will.
they can see it done. But
they're
it
still
does
gonna
mean
play.
they still have to come out and go and win that second game.
Yeah, of course,
and then,
and they're going
it's
to play a
not-
stronger team than they would.
Well, you saw what happened in the Inter game, right? Where the second leg, Liverpool were probably unlucky to lose, sure, but this is the story of the game, and there have been moments for Benfica, in a way that we haven't seen for Atleti, right? There have been periods that we saw. Atleti have had moments. That's unfair.
Oh, it's kicking off over here, by the way.
There've been periods where Benfica.
Grealish is Grealish again on the floor. He gets kicked off in Grealish.
He's straight back up.
Pep's just grabbing Grealish, pushing him away. Grealish is laughing and enjoying it.
Yeah, Grealish has learned one phrase in Spanish to abuse someone. That's what's happened. Pep's like, can you maybe stop that? That's completely unnecessary and probably going to get you booked.
He knows what he's doing.
It's quite hilarious that Grealish is doing this against Atleti. Atleti do this to everyone.
Grealish as well doing it to you. I mean, it is a foul.
It's
It is a foul.
He's kicked it. To be fair, that he's just kicked it right in his face from a yard. That's dirty.
In the words of Sir Alex Ferguson, he could have killed him.
He could have killed him, yeah. I mean,
That's not nice, to be fair.
Grealish he's loving it.
Yeah, well, obviously Grealish loves that. Liverpool.
He doesn't care.
Brilliant.
chance
It's
to
a
look
great
on
ball. Oh, it's not a great ball. Oh, it might be. Oh. He sort of stood it up and I didn't even see.
Yeah, you went about 7 octaves higher than
Yeah.
Diaz was literally hiding behind the player. He popped up. And he was like, hang on, what? That's lovely from Fabinho on the edge.
it's-
That's why his average position matters.
Yeah. Maybe
He's
I
in
haven't
there
got a clue what I'm
absolutely
about.
digging things out on the edge.
He didn't realise
Diaz
it
should
was
do better there, actually, yeah.
Hey, it is, as I said, 2-1.
Oh,
Oh.
Cancelo's just slipped.
Mateus Cunha's killed him with that run. Gotta make a diag run.
Do you know what?
mate.
Given he's in an unfamiliar role, he's done alright tonight, okay. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
Mateus Cunha's got to make a
He's
diag
been
I mean,
solid.
the thing is that when you're...
Jesus has done really well there. Oh, unlucky.
In the
Point
second,
ahead.
in the first half, we were talking about Arcane being like he couldn't progress the ball, and that's fine because in the first half, City was so dominant that it kind of didn't matter what he was offering going backwards.
Yeah.
The second half, having this had a little bit more spice, and with Atleti looking to play a little bit more offensively, Arcane's come into it a little bit more because he's been able to actually do what I suppose he thought he was going to be asked to do in the first place.
Yeah, he's a good defender, okay. And obviously people probably slapped him a little bit because he's not played much football behind Stones, Diaz, Laporte, but he's a really good centre back, and City bought him for a reason. Obviously the money was a lot from Bournemouth, but he's been good whenever he's asked to step in this season, and he'd probably play for a lot of very good teams. Regularly.
He would probably start for a lot.
Yeah,
of
he
sides,
would.
yeah.
He's a really good player, and to be honest, he's not a left back in the slightest, but he's done really well.
Alisson's just been getting closed down there, and Cruyff turned it, and I think it's popped up off his foot onto the inside of his knee. And
got away with it. And now Liverpool are in transition and looking good.
Oh, Bobby, mate, why are you shooting from there?
But they're moments, aren't they? Again, you get away with that in a game where you're winning. You don't get away with it in a game that you're chasing, right?
Yeah.
Because and that's also what a world-class goalkeeper does for you. It gives you that ability to just be like, okay, he's just rarely going to make a mistake. It's not impossible, and there have been mistakes from both of these goalkeepers, but they're rare, and you feel quite comfortable when they're on the ball.
Not when you're watching two games and as you glance up, you just see the ball pop off his knee.
Yeah,
you might have a heart attack.
Yeah.
There's another goal in this game, I think, with City. Let's go. It
So
feels that
a
way to
little
me.
bit. Hit it. Oh.
Yeah. It's still the right decision.
Yeah.
I like those, he's missed, but...
It's Kevin De Bruyne, isn't it? He can shoot from there if he wants to.
Where is Fabinho going? I need Klopp to tell me what Fabinho's doing second half. If it's obviously an instruction, here's the Cruyff. It's come off the other. When it came off the other side of his knee.
Fluid, was it?
Oh man, I don't even think it's like half a
It was a
Cruyff.
sloppy Cruyff.
Yeah.
It was
He's okay.
Yeah,
he's all right.
He's good.
Go on, Kev. What's it?
Oh.
That was the least uncharacteristically Kevin De Bruyne pass I've ever seen.
Yeah, it really did. It was weirdly worked.
Yeah.
This third goal there would be lovely. Come on, Trent. Put it on Van Dijk's head. Let's put this to bed, please.
Grealish has weirdly been brought on just to annoy Atletico.
Yeah,
It's
no, I
like-
genuinely believe that is true.
It works because he obviously there's no one probably better in the league at drawing fouls than Grealish, but against Athletic, that could be quite useful actually in a weird way because obviously you can round them up a little bit and it seems to work. To be
There's
honest.
an element of hot-headedness to Atleti because
Yeah,
there has to be, because it's part of their game plan, right? And
Oh, what a ball that is! That's
Got
incredible.
Foden again.
lucky.
Cancelo, a beautiful pass.
I think it was.
Foden just hammered it into
Just to De Bruyne.
Very good, very good.
This is beautiful.
This-
Was it Foden?
Yeah,
It was
I think
Foden.
so.
Foden's been phenomenal since he came
Yeah,
on.
he has.
That's a
He's
gorgeous
absolutely changed the game. He's really done my halftime prediction a world of good. Cheers,
Yeah.
Phil.
pass. Yeah, I mean, look, Atleti are still defending well. This is the key thing, right? You know, there's that one slip for the goal, but ultimately we haven't seen this. It opened up a little in terms of the actual game, but
Yeah.
it hasn't been like, oh, there's been
hasn't
3 or
been
4
chances. No,
clear-cut
not at all.
chances, which is quite intriguing in some ways because it does put it in a strange place ahead of the second leg.
The good thing for me as a City fan is that we've taken the clearest chance that we had. You know, in terms of like that's sometimes the thing that plagues City. Like we can miss big chances when we get them, and in this instance we didn't because I knew it was always going to be a game of a few clear-cut chances, very few, and it was whether the City decided to take one on. Today we did, which is it's not always a guarantee because we've seen it against Palace, for example, recently where we've just missed big chance after big chance, and yeah, I'm
That's
buzzing.
not sustainable though, with the quality of
Yeah,
player
you're
that
right.
you have.
You're right.
Like,
Absolutely isn't.
There are obviously going to be the odd game where things
Yeah.
don't work your way, and there happen to
It's
be.
more of a fear I have as a fan as opposed to something rational because obviously logically City are going to score, and you're right to say earlier that we were going to score in one of these games. So now it's on Atleti actually now, isn't it? So the whole how the tables have turned.
Weirdly, I think
Diego.
on the balance of the game, both teams would be relatively happy with the result. Like, I think City will feel they haven't created too many clear-cut chances, so winning 1-0 isn't terrible because this could have easily ended 0-0.
Grealish
Grealish is just
again
getting
drawing the
clamped.
foul. The thing is, you don't realise Grealish is very good at doing that whole perceived Spanish thing of like winning a free kick and moaning to the ref and all that kind of stuff, which is very continental, so to speak. And I'm not trying to sound like Udar there, but you know what I'm getting at.
You do sound like you, darling.
I know, I apologise. But the perception of that, around the referee and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, look,
Atleti are very good at that, to be fair.
I mean, the team who were best at getting around the referee and making them do things for years were Chelsea.
Exactly, yeah, well, there we go, you're right, actually. Barca have been pretty good at it, to be fair.
Yeah, but also,
Yeah.
surely.
Oh, Luis Diaz is in. You've got to get there, son. Finish
yeah,
it.
go on.
He
there.
scored.
Yeah, love
that's a
that.
brilliant
Come on.
Shoot.
Tie in the bed. Woo! Nice little trip to Lisbon.
That's a brilliant
Job done.
That's a brilliant goal for an old Porto boy as well. That'll
Yeah,
go down.
he will love
that'll go
that.
down like a lead balloon at the Lewis.
That's
And a sigh of relief. Woo! It comes from a transition, actually. I think it lands for
There's
Navi.
the basketball game for you. It's landed.
Yeah. Luis Diaz has just done every celebration going. He just went like that, went like this, went like that.
for the repertoire.
He's,
Someone's pressing
he's
all the
definitely
buttons.
onside.
Yeah, he's
I think
clear
the
on.
centre back. Oh, is that? Oh, that's Weigl, who just sort of like doesn't really get up to it. I don't really care. Luis
lovely
Diaz.
finish.
I'll absolutely take goal and assist. Back in Portugal.
Also, that's the thing that kind of finish, that kind of cultured element of what Luis Diaz does, has been so obvious this year, and was so obvious this year in that Porto. And we was, been talking about him,
goal.
Sam and I in general. Oh, he's lucky. It comes off a deflection.
Yeah, it did look weird the way the pass came through. It's come
yeah.
off Otamendi.
But we were talking about this. This is something that he's added to his game. When he came in, he was always unbelievably talented, a brilliant dribbler, able to get bit, but he would beat a man, go back and beat him again. That was the kind of player he was. And now he's added this kind of element of just getting direct, being able to finish, and suddenly you're looking at a player who looks like a world beater.
There's no better coach in the world than Klopp for teaching that either.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Klopp's
he
fingers are so
had
direct and
it.
brilliant.
Well, this is it. I think he developed this over.
Yeah.
I think if you'd offered Luis Diaz to Klopp a year ago, he would have been like, nah,
Yeah.
like that's not my guy. I don't need a player who will go back and beat a player twice. That's suddenly this year you saw that production level in the first half of the season go bang. He was the top scorer in the Primera. He was like the third top assister in the Primera. He was having such a good year at Porto, and then Liverpool went, right, thank you very much, we will have that player. Whereas a year ago, or even to be honest in the summer, I don't know if you get that, because I think that there's an element of going, does he fit the system? And Liverpool are so good at identifying players quickly who do actually fit and work out in the right way. And like you say, that's right. That's him in a massive moment, having the cool head to go round the keeper and slot it home and put the tie to bed.
I think also, like you said, like Klopp is a master at sort of bringing these players on board. Like Jota, for example, similar sort of mould of player, not like Luis Diaz in terms of being explosive, but just lacked that killer instinct. And it was like Klopp does with every winger, like Liverpool do with every winger.
What's going on there? I thought it was a red then coming out then. Sorry.
He's just turned him into a killer. And also you get him in them situations where for Porto he probably does. What is going on in the City game?
Yeah, it
It's
seems
kicking up
to be
again.
like the third fight that's happened.
Someone's getting another yellow.
Edison's got a yellow now.
I don't know what for.
I don't. Just
Why-
vibes.
why is he
bad
even
vibes.
there?
Let's have a look.
Oh,
right, so this is what
Grealish gets
happened.
clamped.
But then there's something else happens over here. Grealish.
Laporte, Matheus Cunha.
Laporte. So Edison's
Oh,
been,
Laporte might have headbutted him. I don't know why he's gone down holding his foot, but
Edison's getting booked for kicking the ball away. That's what he's been booked for.
I don't understand what's got. I think Edison got booked. Simeone's running up down the touchline.
This is all very exciting.
Laporte did
It is,
move his
isn't it?
head in the direction of Matheus Cunha's head.
I mean, Laporte, if he has got himself sent off, whichever he has, Grealish has absolutely got under their skin, by the way.
Yeah.
He really has. Like, they're just playing with his hair. He's loving it, though, Grealish. He's really wound him up. They are absolutely triggered. It's quite funny. Mr. Gucci getting him.
Otamendi's bleeding, by the way. He's just
There he goes.
clarted.
He has
Being
just
that,
absolutely banged for being in there. See, both of them should be going off for a HIA as far
That'll
as
do.
I'm concerned.
That
There you
absolutely
go.
will do.
Full
I will
time.
very much
Steve.
take that.
Congratulations,
1-0.
Steve.
Prediction as
Great
well.
Well
Correct,
done,
I'll take
well
it.
done.
Thank you. I get the appreciation.
There you go. You don't get this anywhere else.
Yeah, I've been used to celebrated. Yeah, I love it. Well, to be fair, I'm going to say I did tell him to put forward, so there we go. That wasn't exactly a genius move, but
It's worked.
It's worked.
And that, like you say, that sub for Grealish. I mean, first initial thoughts, just
I'm really happy with that.
What you expected
well, I put 1-0 to prediction, but there was never a full
in terms of the
conclusion.
game.
The game, yeah, pretty much. To be honest, it was everything I expected, really. You know, Atleti didn't really effort anything going forward, other than that, that one mistake from City. And to be honest, I thought they'd be a little bit more positive than that. At least. I thought Felix obviously has been in great form. I thought we'd see Suarez involved actually as well, but because I thought you'd get on our skin a little bit. But overall, I'm really happy with that. We're not the team currently creates loads and loads and loads of clear chances, but there's no lack of effort. I know it's a cliche to say, but you have to battle against Atletico Madrid, and I think Guardiola will be really happy too. As a fan, I'm buzzing because I do fancy our chances. Away to score as well.
But they'll have to open up now as well.
Yeah, I don't see them scoring. They could score 2 against us, but I do see us scoring away from home, and I'm really happy with that. Really happy.
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably should be.
Yeah.
It is one of those, just seeing the celebrations from Luis Diaz.
Honestly,
he really has.
he's done every
talking
celebration.
about Grealish rattling the Atleti players. Luis Diaz has really rattled the Benfica crowd there.
Kissed his badge, kissed the badge, held his shirt in his mouth, did the love heart, pointed at some randomer in the crowd.
There's one random guy he's got beef with.
Yeah.
You there.
He's like, you remember you? I remember when I scored against you earlier in the season. I came to you as well. So maybe it's that. Nasty clash of heads here in the Liverpool game, but I think this is probably going to be it. I think they're going to call it there.
Well, it happened in about 40 seconds, so there might be another 2.5 minutes of football.
There might be, but I do think that the ref probably sees this and goes,
Yeah, I'd call it a day.
There's that element, isn't there, always at the end?
Oh, 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗃. Haven't seen that face in a while.
Yeah, a player.
The Bruyne man of the match. I think that's
Bruyne
probably
man
fair,
of the
actually. Phil Foden, by the way, a huge night for him. As you were saying earlier, I'd love to see Phil Foden not as a false nine, because I like him when he's facing the goal, because he's got so much ability that you want to see him just running at people, making passes, having shots, and he's so wasted in my opinion. I mean, he obviously does a role, but he's wasted when he's got his back to the goal. Like, I love Phil Foden facing people, and he's been influential in that second half. Like, he played a few key passes, beat a few men, obviously got the assist. He's a special player, and I think people have kind of a little bit quiet on this season because his form has been one that's been subservient to the team as opposed to influencing games in his own special way. So I'm buzzing for Phil.
Yeah, I mean, does he start the weekend now?
Absolutely, and I think he was always going to as well. I think he definitely starts. He's got a good record against Liverpool. Like, in fact, he had one of his best games ever in the City shirt against them when we beat him 4-1. And he's got a couple of goals as well.
COVID game. Was that the COVID game?
Yes, and also when we beat you after the title procession as well. But that was obviously you already won the league, so whatever.
Yeah.
But Foden is good against Liverpool, though.
Yeah,
he is. So
it's 'cause he's direct.
yeah, and he's done a lot of it on the right as well. Interestingly,
Yeah,
so
Liverpool go again.
Speaking of direct,
4-on-4.
that's Joe Gomez though. Yeah,
That's Joe Gomez.
You know when
there.
you're a defender and you get the ball there, you're like, oh man, I really didn't actually want to receive the ball. I was just running
I
as
was
the spare
running.
man.
Mater's just done really well there. The ball was just under him. He was like, I'm just going to keep going and just continue to let it go to someone else.
He's such a good passer, Laporte, isn't he? 99% accuracy with 96 passes.
Unreal.
Such a good passer.
He just very rarely loses it.
Yeah.
All time? No.
They are really playing this one out.
Yeah.
I didn't realise it was a Benfica corner, to be fair. I was like, it's going to be a Liverpool free kick, and he's just going to let it go and blow the whistle.
He's
but
surely going to blow the whistle.
I'd imagine it's just going to be
Really,
now.
the 5th minute. I mean, I don't mind. We're winning, so. And I got my prediction partially right, so.
Oh yeah, well you got it at 20. You got it at 60 minutes.
2-0 gap. I'll take it.
I got it to 85.
Yeah. Unfortunately, games are famously 90 minutes. So these are those things.
It's relatively common, you know.
No, it's all good.
It must be time.
He
might actually be playing 6. I'll take that. Oh, Milner, the customary foul off the bench.
And throw the ball away.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Watching City's goal again there, it really is on Foden's footwork. Like the amount of
It's a very good goal. It reminds me of Fulham's goal against Aston Villa in the playoff final. It's very
touches.
Ryan Sessegnon, Tom Kearney, back of the net, isn't it? Like that's the comparison that
I think you're probably the only person in the room who remembers that goal like that.
I'm sure it was as beautiful as that though.
Very similar. Very similar.
I love Phil Foden. He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal.
Can't lie. I think second half Darwin's been knackered. He's literally stopped running.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, the performance he put in the first half was pretty exceptional.
Well, all the way to
his
about
goal.
60 minutes.
Yeah.
Joe.
This is it. We're just killing it. That's fine. That's surely
so
time. Yeah. He's just going to have that moment now. Let it go to the end.
We're into
Surely.
This is a perfect result. 3-1. We'll score early at Anfield. The tie will be absolutely done. Enjoy your holiday in Liverpool, Benfica.
He's graceful, isn't he? He's so graceful.
You absolutely adore
I like
Foden,
how you were
don't you?
just talking about
I
different
just love
things.
Phil
You're
Foden.
just like literally just waxing
Jota's
Liverpool.
in.
Liverpool are in.
For
Shot
Pulisic.
Oh, he scores them. We've had so many of them chances. The big Greek's done well.
It's a good save,
It
that.
is, but he's got to, one of them ones, you know, pass it in. He's trying to
Slot it.
like break the net.
It's a lovely ball, actually.
Yeah, from Henderson. Keeper's
Slot
position
it.
is really good, but he's like trying to thump it through.
That would and ties
Also, you
anyway,
could maybe
but
just play Luis Diaz in.
Yeah. Normally, Jota's quite sharp, like smart in them positions. He normally might just pass that down the side of the keeper because of how far he is. But
this game really has gone forever.
Yeah.
It does feel like we've just watched the longest injury time. I mean, I know it's not. Famously, there have been far longer injury times.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it needed an extra 4 minutes, did it?
No, I mean, obviously there was the head clash, and then there's been kind of 2-3 chances. Or there are things been thrown at Andy Robertson, which never had a great vibe. That's full time. That will
Take
do.
that.
3-1
Perfect result.
Liverpool.
Two happy boys.
All right.
I'll take that.
Quick thoughts before we go to Stats Corner.
We'll take that. There was a
take
bit of anxiety to go with it, but it wouldn't be a Liverpool game without that. So, and I got to see Darwin Núñez against Konaté, which I thought was a fascinating battle. But Luis Diaz kissed his badge, pointed at someone, did a love heart. He had the night he wanted, and I'm happy for him.
Okay, all right. It's time to go to Stats Corner. Sam, what did you make of those two games?
Yeah, we'll start with Manchester City. I mean, I guess overall you have to be pretty happy. You ended up winning 1-0 at the home leg and your opponent had 0 shots on goal. So ultimately kind of job done. But it was a bit of Tristel at points, wasn't it? City had to be quite patient. The defenders saw a lot of the ball. There was a lot of kind of pointless recycling of the ball and not a lot of penetration in the passing. For 30 to 35 minutes, they could barely land a pass completed inside Atleti's box. As Stephen quite rightly pointed out multiple times, Phil Foden completely changed this game. He came into a position just on the right side of midfield and maybe just on the right wing, but he was ducking into the half space and he was dipping in between two of Atleti's players at all points. Atleti had made a system change just before this, and I think Foden did a very good job of exploiting this and making sure that he was working on the blind side of 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗃, who's not great at blocking passing lanes, and he managed to wriggle through a space that wasn't really there for the first 60 odd minutes of this game and provide an assist for Kevin De Bruyne. So very good from City overall. Atleti did have a part to play in their own downfall, but ultimately you've got to still go and score the goal. And City had a couple of good shots, a couple of good chances, but they got the one that counted. So well done to City. And then we move over to Liverpool. Well, at half time, I was calling this a comfortable night's work, and then I watched Nubé just basically scramble and squirm all over the sofa for the second half. It was tough for him. I also couldn't figure out what on earth was happening with Fabinho and why he kept running out of position. It was very strange. But ultimately, this was a really open, aggressive and end-to-end game. And my advice to anybody in the world of football, don't get into those with Liverpool, you will lose. And that is ultimately what happened. Liverpool have much, much better forwards than almost anybody in the world. They have great depth in attack now. You can see the shot map. I mean, this is not bad. For an away night in the Champions League, this is not bad at all. And it could and possibly should have been more. If you allow space for Trent Alexander-Arnold, he will pass into it. If you allow space for someone like Luis Diaz to run into, he will run into it and he will score. It's quite simple, really. I thought Benfica were a tiny bit naive, although with the home crowd roaring them on and them being 2 goals down, I guess I can't blame them for giving it a go, but ultimately outclassed.
Yes. Absolutely, very much so. It did make for an entertaining contest at the very least. So thank you very much, Sam, for your insights as ever. Boys, final thoughts quickly for next week and then just also for the massive game between you at the weekend. But for next week first, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm confident. I think we should be. Ultimately, City are better than Atletico, and that's a really reductive way, a simple way of putting it. But I do think we showed that today, and they can do it because they're such a good football team. But I have to trust City basically to keep the ball and essentially suffocate them and not let them have the momentum that they'll need to get something from this game. I've got to trust them to do that. I do, because they've shown the character before, and I'm not sounding too Brendan Rodgers here, but generally they have shown that away at PSG, they've shown that away at the Bernabeu, away at Dortmund, and I trust this team. I trust them fundamentally, and I'm happy.
Yes, well, I imagine there's nothing to show that they can't be trusted, is there, at this point? So we have to go with what we can see on the screen. Same question, happy as that third one? Just put the anxiety on ice a little bit.
Yeah. It was a really strange second half. I would love to hear Klopp's insight on it, but he never gives too much away. Like Sam said, and like I was saying in the half, Fabinho, I don't know where he was going, to be honest, but if he was told to do that, then it worked, and we won the game 3-1, and literally that is all that matters. And I can't believe, me and you've been sat here for about 2 hours and we haven't actually spoken about the weekend.
We haven't at all,
which is absolute madness. Yeah.
That's just good hosting.
So I am really.
Who's this mug over here? I mean,
just keeping these on track, keeping these on target. I haven't even let them think about the weekend when there's a Wednesday night.
Pep would be very proud of you, Jack.
Honestly,
Pep would be one game at a time.
One game at a time. But I will come on to it now. This game is done. I mean, interestingly, City suffocated the team and controlled the ball and controlled the game at home. Liverpool went away and played incredibly transitionally at times, and a little bit too transitionally, I imagine, for everyone's comfort, but also a high intensity, a high press, and were able to get in behind a team. That's kind of what I'm expecting in the weekend from both.
If Liverpool played that open against City, they will lose. I think they will do. Yeah. And I think mainly because they won't get away with it. Like City will use it much better, use the ball much better than Benfica will do. Foden, De Bruyne, this is just more quality. I was confident anyway before this game. Not confident in the sense that I think we're definitely going to win. More that I just think City do step up in those games. They do, and against Liverpool, we've got a decent record these days when it used to be pretty poor. Those games are self-motivating, aren't they? They really are. And at home at the Etihad, knowing that the title was not on that game, but it certainly feels that way, doesn't it? It really does feel that way. And I said it earlier, but I do trust this team, and I've seen the best game I ever saw in my life in terms of quality was City 2-1 at the Etihad when Aguero and Sane scored back in the 18-19 season, January the 3rd. Remember it? That's the highest quality game I've ever seen personally, and I think it's going to be very similar. I think both teams are going to be exceptional, but I just trust us a little bit more at home, and I think we'll have the answers, but doesn't mean we're going to win, but I do trust them to get it done.
I think that this fixture over the last 3 or 4 seasons, I don't think I've seen a Premier League fixture in my life where every single fixture is an outstanding game of football. Like, the level of football is so high. It reminds me of the old El-Clasico days when it was the Barca trio in midfield. Madrid obviously had all the stars, but every game, whether it was 5-1 to Madrid or 5-5, the standard of football played was outstanding. Which is why, like, this is one of those games where I kind of go, like, it's at the Etihad. Liverpool have only won 1 in 10 at the Etihad. But at the same time, those things, considering the situation, considering momentum...
Someone's got to give eventually, so you feel like, well, eventually Liverpool will win at the Etihad.
I just think... I think we're going to be in for an outstanding game, like you said. I personally think it'll be a draw. I think
Is that a better result, Liverpool than City, or
a draw.
Yeah.
Probably not, because Liverpool's fixtures are a bit
It's
stickier.
the only
Yeah.
result. It's the only result that doesn't change, just doesn't decide the
Yeah.
title on the day. I think.
Yeah.
But I
a
wouldn't
loss,
be
a
happier.
loss for either side, and I think the momentum is devastating.
I agree,
But,
absolutely
a
agree.
draw, and anything could happen in the end of the
Both
season.
teams like
So-
that was meant to be decided.
Yeah, everyone's
It's
just a bit
like-
confused.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I think earlier this season, when it finished 2-2, the first half, City were unbelievable.
Yeah.
Liverpool were battered. In the second half, Liverpool were unbelievable. City, I wouldn't say got battered as Liverpool did in the first half, but it showed like both teams have the capacity to kill each other and go after each other. And then towards the last 10 minutes, both teams were like,
Knackered.
nah, man.
I still don't
Just
know.
flat.
Yeah.
Just flat.
Yeah.
Well,
Milner somehow
it's-
got away with the most obvious red card I've ever seen in my life there, but still,
Indeed.
I'm
Right,
still
look,
bitter.
it's going to be a classic, I think, either way. But that is all from us tonight. And all that's left for me to do is say thank you very much to Stephen.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you very much to 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗲𝗪.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much to Sam in Stats Corner. Thank you very much to Omar Howard and our man James Lorenzo. And thank you at home for watching. We'll see you next week here again on the LiveScore Watch Along. Take care.